Joe Burrow is a happy man, the latest on Ellie De La Cruz, and much, much more. First Word starts now.
Welcome to First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show, breaking down the biggest moments and the stories shaping Cincinnati sports with analysis that cuts through. First Word, setting the agenda in Cincinnati sports.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Jacob Tissot. We are your morning show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And Marisa, still vacationing. She's doing that vacation.
She is.
But we are here every single weekday for you, 7 to 11, day two. You
Day
ready?
two.
You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Yeah, let's do it. And we're going to dive into a bunch of stuff. But if you're watching live on YouTube or X or RESN or Facebook or wherever you're listening, including Mixler, well, one, thank you. Two, welcome into Cincinnati's only morning sports show. We're with you every single weekday morning. We want you to make us part of your day every single day. So you get the latest on Joe Burrow and why he's a happy man today. And we'll get to that coming up in just a minute. The latest on Ellie De La Cruz. We're going to hear from Terry Francona this hour on him. Top prospect Edwin Arroyo made his debut. Obviously, the Reds were in a tough spot. All of that, plus while you slept, getting you caught up on a crazy day in the NFL yesterday. I mean, just wild. There's so many things that are going on, and that's why we exist here, Cincinnati, is so you can start your day and get caught up on everything you missed, get analysis, have guests. We had Steve Radicevic on yesterday, the Bengals assistant GM. We'll hear a clip of that later in the show with Marisa. Paul Dehner Jr. as well yesterday. And so we are just getting started here on First Word. Thank you so much for making us part of your day. And let's dive into the news of Monday. And there were two big trades on Monday, but the news of Monday, the big news, the reason why Joe Burrow is a happy man today is that guy named Myles Garrett. He's no longer in the AFC North. Myles Garrett traded to the Los Angeles Rams in a deal. As we were show prepping, we were reacting to the Ellie news and talking about that. And then Myles Garrett gets dealt to the Rams for a first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a third-round pick, all in consecutive years, 27, 28, and 29, along with Jared Verse. My instant reaction was, heck yeah, at least Myles Garrett isn't in the AFC North and Joe Burrow doesn't have to deal with it.
Remember a few months ago when the conversation was Joe Burrow has to play Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, and TJ Watt 2 times a year each?
Wow.
Where'd that go?
Where did that go?
It was quick.
Short-lived
for sure, and certainly great news for the Bengals. I do think this is a great trade by the Browns in terms of the return, and obviously it's a win for the Bengals, but to get a player like Jared Verse, who's a great young player at the edge rusher position, is a solid return, and then the 2027 first, and what will be a really, or what should be, it's not fair to speak too far in advance, but what should be a really good first-round draft class next year, and the Browns building a pretty exciting young core, but still missing the biggest piece, and the piece we all know you need to compete in the NFL, the quarterback. And so many questions at that position in Cleveland, not for a lack of money spent, but Myles Garrett onto the Rams, and the most talented roster in the NFL just gets a little bit more talented.
This is such an interesting trade to me, because on one hand, the Browns, they do what I think I said they should do week 18. When he was going after the sack record, and it felt like he was going to get the sack record, and he obviously got the sack record, took Burrow down, the single-season sack record, and it's cash in because you're not contending.
Right.
The Browns with Myles Garrett this year are just a thorn in the Bengals side and really tough to deal with and annoying, but they're not contenders. We know that. Everybody knows that. And so for them to trade Myles Garrett, I think it made sense, especially with the way his contract was. They wait till after June 1. It makes total sense. For the Rams to go get him also makes a ton of sense. But I do think that there's a narrative today that the Browns won this deal, that the Rams overpaid, giving up the 3 draft picks, giving up Jared Verse as well. Do you buy that? Do you think that the Browns win this deal because they get a 2027 first, a 2028 second, in a 2029 third, plus a guy in Jared Verse, who was the Defensive Rookie of the Year a few years ago?
I do feel like the Browns won this trade, and I don't know if I'd go as far to say the Rams lost it. I think adding a Myles Garrett is a good addition, but this is a better return than I expected the Browns to get for Myles Garrett. I think something that was on the front of my mind throughout all the Myles Garrett trade conversation was if the Browns get 3 first-round picks or whatever that ceiling conversation was for a return on Myles Garrett, the Browns have to make those picks, and they haven't done that very well over the last 20, 30, 40 years. So to get Jared Verse, a guy that the Rams did not want to give up in this trade, an ascending young player with multiple years left on his rookie contract, I think it's a really great get for the Browns, not to mention the 2027 first, the second, and the third round pick. I think the hard pill to swallow, if there has to be one, is that 2027 first will probably be towards the end of the draft. Maybe at the very end. The Rams are the Super Bowl favorites now and moved even further ahead after this trade yesterday. But I do feel like the Browns did a really good job maximizing the return here for Myles Garrett.
I like the return for the Browns. I do. I always default to who got the better player, who got the best asset, And so for me, if the Bengals had given up, let's say they had given up, let's go crazy, 4 first-round picks for Myles Garrett. Let's just say it. No. You'd be excited today.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, my God, they got Myles Garrett and Dexter Lawrence. Oh,
for sure.
So that's it. Like, that's it. Is if you just say it that way, it's like, yeah, Jared Verse is good, but guess what? Joe Burrow's happy today. Zach Taylor's happy today. They don't have to deal with a guy in Myles Garrett, as good as Jared Verse is. And the Browns weren't going to win anything without figuring out quarterback. So I get why they would make this deal. I do. At the same time, the Rams should be the best team in football. I think that's where this is you go all in. And if you relate it to the Bengals, there's a few areas to it. One, Joe Burrow doesn't have to deal with Myles Garrett anymore. Hopefully I don't have to keep talking about how annoying the Browns are for this Bengals offense to deal with, because they shouldn't be that annoying. It shouldn't be a struggle every time you see Cleveland on the schedule to deal with that defense. And the other thing, and it's a big one, because the swing they made last month, or now over a month ago now, in April, trading for Dexter Lawrence, that shows you what real contenders do. They make big swings. They step up to the plate and they say, hey, we're going to make a big deal that's going to make us that much better because we're trying to contend right now. And the Rams did it not once, but twice this offseason. And somehow the Ty Simpson pick is there, and that's the first-round pick they use, is on a backup quarterback. It's kind of wild in hindsight because they make these 2 all-in moves for a top corner and Myles Garrett, who's the best defensive player on the planet, according to Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow. And yet they still prepare for the future a bit with Ty Simpson.
It was reported Les Snead said that this trade for Myles Garrett wouldn't be possible without the Ty Simpson pick. They said they were comfortable moving on from those future draft picks because they feel like they have the quarterback of the future if Stafford does retire in the next year or two. So opening this window, obviously 3 years left on the Garrett contract. You hope that aligns with Stafford and you get 3 more years of MVP level quarterbacking from Stafford. But if not, they have a lot of faith in Ty Simpson, which I think allowed them to move on from these picks. You know, whether you agree or not, certainly feels like McVay is all in on Ty as the successor there in LA.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see on that. I wonder, and maybe, right? And for me, though, like, could they have added a weapon that helps now, too?
For sure.
And done, like, if you're adding Myles.
Mekhi Lemon was on the board.
Yeah.
Kenyon Sadiq was on the board.
You know me and wide receiver. And so I think here's why it's such a great day for the Bengals. One, you should sweep Cleveland this year. Just get out the brooms, sweep them. That's it. That's what it should be today. And it's June 2nd.
Right.
Anything less than sweeping Cleveland is a disappointment. Right? Myles Garrett is a nightmare to deal with. 2, if you do think the Rams are well run, I remember saying this in like 2019, the Bengals re-signed, I think it was 2019, the Bengals re-signed Tyler Eifert. And it was reported that the Rams were interested, and I forget the other team that was. It was one of these smart offensive-minded teams. It's way back, and I was like, oh well, if the Rams are interested, you should be interested. The Rams are making big swings. You should be making big swings, or at least considering them. And so I do think that reinforces, not that you needed any more reinforcement, that the Dexter Lawrence move was the right move, but it was certainly the right move. It was the only way you're going to get this defense up to the level that you were expecting it to. And I do think it's noteworthy. And here's why I lean Rams. The Rams are smarter than the Browns. And just because you get Jared Verse, Well, the Rams are like, all right, is he a true game changer or is he a good player? A lot of people looked at his rookie year and said, oh, he's a game changer. He's going to be a game wrecker. Well, if he was that, why would they trade for Myles Garrett?
Yeah, certainly a valid point.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
the Rams aren't dumb. Like, if they're willing to trade a 1, a 2, and a 3 and Verse, it means 1, they don't want to pay Verse. 2, they think Myles Garrett's a true game changer. And the Bengals certainly feel that way as well. Did you see what Todd Monken?
I saw this before the trade was official.
Yeah.
And it was really what set off the sirens
about
in
to
my
happen.
head that this is done. And if it's not done yet, it'll be done at some point this afternoon. More than bizarre, the quotes that Todd Monken's had about Myles Garrett so far in his tenure.
Yeah. So Browns head coach Todd Monken making it clear that Myles Garrett could be dealt at any time, and he was dealt like 30 minutes later. Yeah.
But he's going to be on the team. Do you expect him to be here when we get to the season?
Well, he's not like any other player. I mean, I'm never told who's going to be on the team, who's not going to be on the team, if that's a question. I mean, every day we evaluate the roster. Andrew evaluates the roster. Management evaluates the roster. And like I said, he's no different than any other player we've got. So I don't know how to respond to that based on, because it's really no different today than it's been for the last however many months I've been the head coach.
Have you been assured he'll be here June 9th?
No, I wasn't assured that when I took the job. I was never assured of anything when I took the job, other than once I signed my contract and whatever my contract said, that's what I was assured. And no matter what any of us coaches sign up for, is we show up every day and we coach the guys that are in the building like we've done since we've been here. That hasn't changed.
It's really odd. Odd that they put that, like, I'll give the Bengals this. They would never put Zach Taylor in that position, foundation or not. There's just no way that's the case. Put that golf event on June 4th, not June 1, because they've known. That's the other thing is the writing has been on the wall with the Myles Garrett stuff. Todd Monken has been weird all offseason about it.
He said a month ago he hasn't met him yet.
The restructure stuff, I get all of it, and it makes sense in a lot of ways. I think the Rams won this deal because they got the best player, and it's by far the best.
Yeah.
The game changer, the guy that puts not fear in Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, but does keep them up. Instead of the 9 hours that Joe Burrow normally gets, he gets less than 9 hours of sleep when they have to deal with Myles Garrett because he's a pain in the rear end. And so to not have to deal with him, it's a huge, huge win for the Bengals. It's a huge win for the AFC North, and it just reinforces that it is time for the Bengals to win in the AFC and helps them potentially get back to a division championship, which would be their first since 2022. We are just getting started here on First Word. Up next, the latest on the Reds. Obviously, a ton of moves in the NFL and much, much more. And while you slept, I'm James Rapien. We'll be back right here on First Word.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, and today we're at the Acres here in Evendale, Ohio. It actually has been around for 70 years and was just redone in 2022. And I'm going to get a golf lesson from the one and only Brett Birchikoff. Brett, get on in here. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
No.
All right, well, you know what? I'm even worse at golf. I did take a golf lesson once when I was 20 years old. I haven't really golfed since that day. All right, so now we're going to take a look around the Acres and see just exactly where we are. There's so much fun stuff to do here.
It's really cool.
So what's great about the Acres is it's a whole family event. They have 16 bays inside, they're open year round, and 22 bays outside. And then you want to look over here, we have family fun putt-putt. I'm even worse at putt-putt, okay? First timer, so what do I need to know?
Okay, so kind of three things, three pillars. I like to call them posture, just like your stance to the ball, kind of your address, the grip of the club, how you grip it, and then your alignment, your aim.
Posture,
Grip, and alignment.
Alignment.
PGA.
PGA. That's what the PGA means?
No, feet kind of shoulder width apart, maybe a little wider.
All right.
You want to bend at the hips a little bit.
Okay.
And just a good athletic stance. Next is the grip. Easiest way for beginners to learn is like
Hold on,
that.
do you do this?
I do that. Feet a little wider. The shoes are going to be tough, but
No, these
there you
are stable. Okay, ready?
good swing. Slow shoulder swing.
Swing and a miss.
Got it out there.
It's down the first baseline, baby. I really am trying really hard.
There you go.
Look at that!
Dead straight.
You're a great teacher.
Dead straight.
Heck yeah!
Wow.
Jesus. No, so here's the, want me to, yeah, you know, pretty much an expert here now.
Another rebound rundown update, this time for the Cincinnati Bearcats under first-year head coach Jared Calhoun coming over to Clifton from Utah State. And Jared Calhoun having to put together an entirely new roster this year for Cincinnati. Not a single returning player from last year's Bearcat team. Tylen Riley, the headline piece for this roster, a transfer in from Tulsa, the point guard of this group. Miles Colvin, a transfer from Wake Forest, somebody who has national championship game experience from his time at Purdue in that game against UConn. Tyler Tejada out of the CAA from Towson. Riley Allensbach from George Mason. Travion Carson, Jaden Hastings. Eric Mahaffey, the local product from Moeller. Spent his first year at Akron, now finds his way down to UC, plus 3 players who already have experience in Jared Calhoun's system from Utah State. That is a fantastic balance. You have to have a group that has played for a head coach before. Jared Calhoun has that. Much more coverage of the Bearcats on the Rebound Rundown. Stay tuned.
Open those mics as we keep it rolling on a Tuesday edition of First Word. I'm James Rapien, alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And shout out to you. We've had our YouTube page open for 5 days. Got over 3,300 subscribers. A reminder that you can watch us live on YouTube, on RESN. You can watch us live on X right now, streaming. So if you're watching us anywhere, certainly shout out to you. You can also listen on Mixlr and wherever you get your podcasts. So plenty of ways to follow, listen, and watch Cincinnati's only morning sports show. It's to get you caught up on everything that you missed and while you slept. And it starts with the Reds. Boy, oh boy. Jacob Tissot was so excited. It was Burns Day. He was going to Great American Ballpark. Chase Burns was set to pitch. And then he got scratched due to an illness. We'll see if he pitches tomorrow. There's a chance he pitches tomorrow. But that happened, and then everything fell apart, and they lose to the Royals. How confident were you when Burns gets scratched? And you see the news, and you see that they're going to go with the opener, and they're going to go with Richardson. Like, when all that happens, what's going through your mind?
So confident that I sold my tickets to the game and didn't even go last night.
Sold his tickets.
I opted out.
I didn't know you sold your tickets. I knew you didn't go.
Of watching a Lion Richardson start last night. I was not interested.
You're not a big Lion guy?
In that one. No. Did watch on TV and was just as unenjoyable as I figured it would be at the ballpark. This game was over from the start.
The grand slam, are you like?
Instantaneous in the first inning. It was painful to end. I mean, every time we talk about this Reds rotation and this Reds bullpen, it circles back to one thing, and it's we need the starters to give significant length in the games because there's not enough bullpen arms to have faith in getting multiple innings done through the back end of a game if it's close. well, let's start the bullpen and see how that goes. And it goes exactly as you'd expect. 9 runs, a grand slam in the first. The Reds scored 2 in the most infuriating way possible, a solo home run in the first and then a run in the 9th. So 2 really meaningless runs in a game that was over from the start. But J.J. Bleday still hitting. Another home run, another walk, another RBI last night. He has been just an absolute joy for the Reds this year in the outfield, and I really don't know where this lineup would be without him at this point. But the Reds are going to have to figure something out, both in this bullpen and in this rotation, if they can't get healthy.
Yeah, they are. Oh, my goodness. Even J.J. Bleday,
Yeah.
you look at it, and it's like, oh, well, obviously had the RBI, but the 3 strikeouts stand out. The 13 hits to a Royals team that it should take 7 days to get to 13 hits stands out to me. And that's just the Lyon Richardson position that they were in.
Yeah.
It feels like there's just a ton of pressure now to get these next 2. The one bright spot, and we can dive more into the Reds' outlook and all of those things as we roll on here, just a game above 500 now. Elly De La Cruz obviously set to miss significant time. We'll hear from Terry Francona multiple times throughout the morning here on Elly, but Edwin Arroyo, up. When you see that, and we'll dive into the poll question, which involves Arroyo, you're like, ugh, because of Elly, or were you like, hey, I get to see my guy?
I was more excited than not because of the verbiage on the transactions post from the Reds. It was a 10-day IL for Elly originally, and it felt like the Reds had dodged a bullet there with the hamstring for De La Cruz not missing more than about 10 games. That's somewhat changed since, after we heard from Terry Francona before the game. But Edwin Arroyo is, in my mind, the second or third baseman potentially of the future of this team. Certainly has a position in this infield I think he can claim and be an everyday player here from what we've seen from Matt McLain so far this year and last. Doesn't seem like he's someone you can really rely on at second base from an offensive perspective. And last night, Arroyo looked great defensively. Made a phenomenal play at second very early in the game. A little bit of a welcome to the show moment. It was great to see because Arroyo has not played many games at second base in his minor league tenure. And he comes up, and his 33rd career game at second base was last night in his major league debut, and he looked like he's been playing it his whole life. So that was a great, great thing to see from him. Needs to figure it out at the plate a little bit. Got the hit in the 9th, which was great, but fishing in the other batter's box a few times on those strikeouts earlier in the game. So some of that will just come with comfort. I'm sure he was very excited and in his own head last night a little bit, especially when you get down early. You want to be a hero in your major league debut. So hopefully as he settles, he'll get to be closer to the player that we've seen in AAA so far this year. But I think it's really exciting to have him up here. It's not how you want him up here, but anytime a top prospect gets called up, I think it's something Reds fans should be excited about.
Yeah, 1, it's exciting. 2, I think when you're down like that and it's your debut, you're like, all right, I'm going to be aggressive.
Exactly.
And I'm going to be really, not just to impress in your debut, but maybe I can be the reason we turn things around.
Yeah.
I'm here for a reason. You press a little bit, and I totally get that. Here's Edwin Arroyo on his hit and on his MLB debut after the game.
Yeah, it didn't start how I wanted, but it finished how I wanted. So great for the opportunity and excited for the first game.
What was the moment like? The first hit, the ball, maybe where the ball's going? Have you thought about any of that?
No, I was just listening to the fans, and it was great. It was great. I was really excited after that. So hopefully, let's keep it going.
Were you able to soak in that moment, listening to the fans?
It was really exciting. It got me a little of thought of WBC in Puerto Rico, really loud, a lot of people, cheering. So really excited, and hopefully they keep coming and keep cheering for the team.
What moment had you your sister, I think, cheering up in the crowd as well? How special it is to have your family here and to have her watching you?
Great. She was the only one here today from the family. I'm glad she could make it on time. The rest will come tomorrow, but I'm happy and glad she could enjoy it.
I don't know if you noticed, she couldn't sit down the entire game. She was that nervous for you. You haven't seen that yet?
She gets really excited. People that talk around, she gets a little distracted, but I'm glad she had fun.
What had you more hyped up, the sliding play or the hit?
Both. The first play, it was the first play. It was the first hit. It's a little different of excitement, but both were really exciting.
I mean, you haven't played a ton of second base in the minor leagues. To come up here and prove you can play that spot, how important is that for you carving out a role?
Good. I played the last couple weeks. I was playing a little more second, so I could feel comfortable. Tito asked me if I was feeling comfortable there. I said yes. So wherever they put me, I'm gonna, try and feel as comfortable as there. So
if you would have asked you if you would catch, if you're comfortable playing catcher, you would probably have said the same
I'll probably go do and catch and block everything and be ready to go.
There's the old saying, the joke, like, the ball always finds you. Were you not surprised that the first ball put in play went right to you?
Yeah, it's something always is going to happen the first game. It happened, now we pass the page and be ready for, for the second game.
Payoff pitch.
Edwin
Guided
Arroyo,
right side.
someone that,
Arroyo on the spin.
This was so smooth. Yeah. Smooth. Love it. Looked like me playing second base. Loved how he looked there, and then you see the hit. And you can build on that. I'm comfortable with it. I know you said fishing at the plate, but he gets the hit in front of his sister, and to slide and make that play.
Absolutely.
We will see. You can't replace Ellie De La Cruz, but maybe you can give me some hope here with Edwin Arroyo with the nice hit. And that I was more impressed by the sliding play at second. And I know it wasn't like the most difficult play in the world, but just how smooth he looked, popped up, made it routine, boom. That's what you want to see.
That's the thing that really excites me about Edwin Arroyo is the glove's really never been a question. He's been an elite defender the whole time through the minors, and then this year in AAA, the bat finally caught up, and he just became a complete player. And I think that's the hope that it just translates and something finally clicked for him on that side of things, because his glove has been able to play at the major league level for a couple of years now, and the conversation has always been, can the bat catch up and fit in the lineup? Hopefully it can stick, and he can have some big time hits in the next couple of days, and then there's no conversation about potentially sending him back down, or if he was just an Ellie replacement. I think that's something that's going to come up in about 10 days, and the Reds go through and see who's viable on this roster or not. Arroyo has a chance to prove he belongs on this team for the long haul now, and hopefully he takes advantage.
Yeah, hopefully he does. We will certainly see that. One guy that's going to be here for the long haul is Jamar Chase. How nervous were you on Monday? He was nervous. He doesn't want to admit it. The Bengals answered the question because Jamar Chase, DJ Turner, and Joe Flacco all reporting for training. Well, not there yet. For OTAs, though. Voluntary OTAs. No. But they're voluntary OTAs, and they hadn't been there. And so pretty noteworthy by the Bengals, for the Bengals. And they put out this video revealing that Uno is in the building. Yeah, a couple things there. One, awesome that they revealed that Joe Flacco was there, right? He should have been included?
For sure.
All right, so Joe Flacco should have been included. Jamar Chase, obviously, that was one that Jacob Tissot was really worried about. Let's get to the number 0. DJ Turner in 0. Rate it.
10. Well, 0.
0 is fine.
It's awesome.
So when he switched to 0, Jacob was like, oh my God, he's going to sign an extension. I think I buy that.
Really?
The Bengals aren't giving 0 for 1 year. I said that to someone. There's no way they're giving up 0 for 1 year and not getting a deal.
I agree. Also, the DJ Turner conversation from his side of things. If you're going to be a free agent, why change your number if there's any kind of Fanatics backlog you have to buy out in terms of jerseys with the 20? I know they were selling 20s at the end of last year, so just wait till you're on your new team if you're not going to sign an extension to change your number. So that was another little connection there, I think.
All pro in the 0?
I hope so. I hope so. You got to play well if you're wearing 0, and I'm very confident in DJ Turner's ability as a cornerback on this Bengals defense, but that's a big switch. A lot of pressure with the 0.
For sure. Plenty of Bengals coverage coming your way. Good to see Jamar Chase back. Obviously, you see T. Higgins there catching passes as well. And DJ Turner, they started doing 7-on-7 yesterday, and Zach Taylor set to talk later today. We will hear from Zach tomorrow right here on First Word. But let's continue with the multiple trades. The Myles Garrett trade Your reaction. My reaction, simple. He's not in the division anymore. Hallelujah. I also think that there are some that were like, Super Bowl 61 may have to deal with Myles Garrett.
If we're dealing with Myles Garrett in the Super Bowl this year, that's a great problem to have. Just get there, win a few playoff games, and then we can cross that bridge. But obviously great news that Myles Garrett is no longer in the division. I have to play him twice a year is huge. Jared Verse, a great ascending young player in this league, obviously has a chance to become a really special edge rusher in the NFL, but he's not Myles Garrett yet. And the Bengals would have had to play Myles Garrett twice this year. They no longer do. That is a win.
It is a win. There's no doubt about it. I think that the Eagles won yesterday. Did you see what they got for A.J. Brown? They get a first-round pick for A.J. Brown. I thought it would be less. I think everybody thought that he was going to end up in New England. He's already there, already reporting for OTAs. This was like written months and months ago. I just thought it almost seemed too obvious that it wasn't going to happen because everyone expected it to happen. Well, it happened. He's a New England Patriot.
Yeah, any difference between real difference between the 27 one and a 28 one there in terms of the not getting a one conversation? It's still a first round pick. I get it.
It is. It's a year later.
Right.
So yeah, I think it has a chance to be a better pick though. If you think about the Patriots and where they're at and where A.J. Brown is at. I get that as well.
You talk about teams that think they're contenders going out and making swings. Patriots win the AFC Championship last year, get blown out in the Super Bowl by the Seahawks, go at a true wide receiver one for Drake May. So, I mean, anyone who thinks they're anyone. Sorry?
Is he still a wide receiver one?
I think so.
Yeah, I wonder. I think he's got to prove that now. He's 28, but it feels like he's an old 28.
For sure.
Throw that out there, and you get what I'm saying. Barely crossed 1,000 yards last year. It was weird in Philly.
Quarterback play.
He's needy. No. In NFL, A.J. Brown is needy.
For sure.
And it should just be a reminder because there was a time in his career where I'd be like, I would take A.J. Brown over T. Higgins. I would not take A.J. Brown over T. Higgins today. Just throw that out there.
He's a well-read superstar, though. Keeps up on his books on the sideline.
He does something. I'm not going to dive into A.J. Brown's reading on the sideline.
I'm excited for Devontae Smith, wide receiver one season in Philly.
Mekhi Lemon.
Yeah. The undersized slot receiver.
This Alabama guy, it finds every way, just craps all over Jalen Hurts a second ago.
Mekhi Lemon.
And then goes after it. Devontae Smith. Yeah, Devontae Smith's a beast. Love him in college.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts can't throw over the
middle. You were at
so
Bama with Smith, right?
Heisman year, my freshman year.
Heisman year's freshman year, of course. Yeah. Meanwhile,
200 yards in the first half of the national championship. Unbelievable.
He was awesome. Not as good as Jamar, but awesome. You know who else isn't as good as Jamar ever? Odell Beckham Jr.
Okay, fair.
Not as good as Jamar Chase, but guess what? He is back in the league. Did you see? Back in the league, Odell is with the New York Giants again, reunited. Does Odell have anything in the tank? Anything?
I don't know. Probably not, but this is fun. This is going to be really cool to see him back out there. Probably the end of his career. He's going to hang him up in a Giants uniform like he should. I absolutely love this. It's a good reunion. If Malik Neighbors is going to get healthy this season and come back on the field, you get a chance to have them both on the field together, which will be great for Giants fans to see. This is more of a vibes signing to me than a football signing. I don't know how much Odo really has left, but the Giants wide receiver room doesn't have much. They added 3 wide receivers yesterday, so certainly looking to add something to that room. It's fun to add Odell.
Who has more yards, Mitch Tinsley or Odell Beckham Jr.?
Odell.
This year?
I think so.
Mitch Tinsley, I'll bet. What do you want to bet? Lunch.
Sure.
Lunch.
Works.
Clip it, Gabe. Lunch. There's no way Odell. And I'm a receiver guy. It's over.
I don't think he's going to be good.
It's over. Mitch Tinsley's good.
Yeah.
Mitch Tinsley probably starts for New York.
I don't disagree, but he doesn't start for the Bengals.
No
and
doubt.
Odell might start for the Giants.
Yeah. No, he won't.
What, you've been Darius Slayton
fan? Yes. Way better than Odell.
Yeah.
Odell hasn't played in a meaningful game.
Jalen Hyatt?
Since the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl.
I did see some.
Against the Bengals.
Yeah, some Dolphins jerseys on the graphics yesterday.
He played for the Dolphins, but he didn't play. Chad Johnson had a bigger impact for the Dolphins than Odell.
No, you're right. I'm certainly not expecting Odell to be a good receiver this year, but I do think he'll be on the field.
I can't believe I became the anti-wide receiver guy there. But yeah, give me Mitch Tinsley all day long. We're just getting started here on First Word. Plenty to get to. including Bengals, including Reds. I'm just looking at everything. Stay with us here, with you till 11 o'clock, right here on First Word.
Cincinnati, home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies. A city where you know someone who knows someone, and you're in business. Every weekday at noon, The Working Lunch brings you headlines from local businesses, along with exclusive interviews with owners and local leaders. East Side, West Side, northern suburbs, downtown over the Rhine, and northern Kentucky. Real conversations, real Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays at noon, only on The Crown.
It's time for another Tissot's Take here on First Word, and Sal Stewart. What a joy it's been to watch him for the Cincinnati Reds in his first full season with the big league club. Such a young player playing a new position at first base. Stewart played 203 games at third base through the Reds minor league system, just 2 at first, and he has been a star over there so far this year. After his historic April, he's been at the front of the NL Rookie of the Year race, battling against other young stars in the National League Central. Moises Ballesteros with the Cubs, Connor Griffin with the Pirates, J.J. Weatherholt with the Cardinals, some of the most exciting young players in all of baseball playing in the National League Central, and Sal Stewart right there at the top. First base, he's been great, but also a serviceable second baseman and third baseman, and hitting phenomenally from the plate. A real threat anywhere he is on the diamond, and someone no pitcher wants to face in the box. Very lucky to have someone this professional at such a young age. You're watching First Word, part of the Crown Network, from 7 to 11 every weekday morning.
Hello, my name is Natalie Jones, and welcome to the Nat Jones Show. After retiring from my 10-year radio career here in Cincinnati, I caught the bug, and I'm happy to bring it here to the Crown. I love captivating people who have captivating stories to tell, and the thing about it is, everybody has a story to tell. All you got to do is empower them to do so. That is exactly what I'm doing here. Because life is better when we all stay curious and we all stay connected.
I'm James Rapien, and this is your First Word Bengals Minute. Joe Burrow is undoubtedly one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. We know that. He knows that. But can he be the best? Well, earlier this offseason, he said he wanted to throw for 48 touchdowns, that it was doable. If he hits that mark, it would give him 205 in his career, which would be #1 all-time, passing Andy Dalton in Bengals history. And that mark is one thing, but becoming the best on the planet is another. And Joe Burrow, for my money, has the chance, has the potential, has the ability to be the best quarterback on the planet, and it's up to him to show it this year. Is 48 touchdowns doable? Absolutely. How about the NFL all-time single-season record at 55 that Peyton Manning set way back in 2013? Joey B, let's see you get that done. For more on the Bengals, make sure you check out First Word every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown.
Did the Rams overpay for Myles Garrett? 80% of you on YouTube say no, 20% say yes. We'll keep you up to date on our YouTube polls, and we have our poll question of the day coming up. But now it's time to talk Reds. Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And yesterday, our debut show. Shout out to you if you watched, if you listened. Elly De La Cruz was a huge topic, a huge talking point. Elly, what's it going to be? Is he going to miss time? Is he going to go on the injured list? What's going to happen with Elly De La Cruz? Well, now we know. 10-day injured list. Could miss more time than that. Don't like it. Led to Edwin Arroyo being called up as well. Terry Francona talked before the loss to the Royals, the 9-2 loss, before we knew about Chase Burns, and discussed the decision to put Elly De La Cruz on the injured list, the scan, what it revealed for his hamstring, and also what it means for Edwin Arroyo. Here's Tito in his office before yesterday's game.
About Elly getting the scan this morning.
Okay, so he got his scan, and it's kind of between a grade 1 and 2. He got a I don't want, it's not a PRP injection, it's for something very similar for soft tissue. He'll be a couple days just getting treatment, and then dependent on how he feels, they'll start letting him do some things. And then the best timeline I can give you is in a couple weeks he'll be re-scanned. That could change depending on how he's doing, but it's probably going to be close to that.
When you get all that information, how do you categorize that as good news, better than expected? What would you say?
Well, you never want to lose him, but I thought he did a good job of pulling up and not tearing that thing, because that would have been not good. And I believe him is, like I haven't been around him as long as you guys, but I've seen him, how he responds and heals, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's on the quick end. Plus, his just ability to want to, he'll probably be on the quicker end.
I assume you talked to him. Did you get that sense already that he?
Well, he didn't even want to go on the IL,
yeah,
which I respect.
Yeah.
But we need to take care of him.
With the options that you have in place, why was now the time for Arroyo to come up, and what is the plan for him now?
Well, when you say why, we need an infielder.
Right.
Okay. We have to play 9.
Right.
Okay.
I understand that.
Okay.
But what made this the right time for Edwin Arroyo as opposed to moving McLean and doing something with some of the guys that you have here?
We can't play without an extra infielder, though. I mean,
Okay.
we have to. We need.
Okay.
We need to balance, and he's doing really well.
Right.
I think the timing, like I say, you never want to lose Elly, but I think the timing is really good as far as Edwin goes.
What have you been told? Obviously, the reports on him.
Talked to PK. I've actually talked to Edwin too. He's played more second probably than anywhere else. That's probably his most comfortable position right now. My guess is you'll see him at short and second, maybe even the third.
Yeah.
Depending on what's going on. He's done a really good job at AAA. He's played with a lot of energy. He's young. I told him, I said, don't try to be somebody you're not. Just be who you are, and try to just play the game right. That's the best I think you can always tell young guys.
What makes you most excited about him as a guy and as a player in this organization?
Well, I mean, he's a great kid. I think, and I want to be a little careful because I am excited to watch him, but I also don't want to, you fall into that. If he has a good 10 days, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. If he has bad 10 days, he's a bust. So, I want to kind of refrain from that a little bit. Just let him play and, see how he does. Hopefully he helps us win some games. That's why he's here. I think the experience will be really valuable for him, and the hope is he helps us win.
Yeah, we'll see when it comes to Elly De La Cruz and what happens there. Look, they need Edwin Arroyo to step up, and that's a big part of it. And for him, second, short, third, do you have a preference? Sal Stewart made that awesome play at third, so that was, by the way, Tito's comments before the game, clearly trying to leave it wide open and take pressure off of Arroyo. Hey, we'll use him everywhere. Hey, he does. Pressure's on. They need him. They're 30-29 on the season. It is tough sledding right now without Elly De La Cruz. Even if he heals fast,
Absolutely.
like Tito said, there's pressure on Edwin Arroyo. Let's go to Cruz, though. What are you thinking here? It's the 10-day injured list. It's a hamstring. 14 days to a month. Even if he heals fast, it's a fast guy, like literally runs fast, to be clear. So that matters with the hamstring. There's one. Two, is someone that they're really any athlete, if you have this soft tissue issue, something you monitor. What are you thinking? Where are the Jacob Tissot vibes meter when it comes to Ellie De La Cruz?
Horrible. So bad. It's 2 to 4 week quote from Terry Francona ruined my day. The 10-day IL to the Terry Francona quote changed everything for me. When the top end of how long Ellie is going to be out keeps going up every time we hear from somebody, that makes me not feel great.
Yes.
So I don't think it's awesome. Obviously, it's always going to be put on Ellie in a lot of these things, how he's feeling, how he responds to treatment and everything along those lines, which leads me to believe that maybe he's back sooner rather than later. Because one thing that we've learned for sure about Ellie De La Cruz through his first 3 years in the majors is he wants to be on the field. They showed him in the dugout yesterday, missing the game obviously on the injured list, with a glove on halfway through the game. He's not playing. He's on the injured list. He wants to be out there so bad. This is driving him crazy to be on the injured list for the first time in his career. So if he has any kind of workaround to get back on the field, I think he's going to say he feels good and does it. So I'm really putting the emphasis on the Reds here to protect him from himself throughout this time. As the weeks pile up and the games pile up and, you know, God forbid, but maybe the losses start to pile up, Ellie De La Cruz is going to really push to get back on the field, and you can't risk this getting any worse.
You can't. It can't turn into a bigger thing, especially if you don't have success over the next few weeks. The Reds still clinging above 500, but let's be real. They're 30-29. The month of May might be who they are.
Yeah.
Like, this might be it, where it's just going to be up and down. The team we saw in April, that was 20-11. Do the math there. They were 20-11 once upon a time. Now they're 30-29. Right. So it has not gone well over the past month plus. Here's what I'll say. If Edwin Arroyo can come in, I think Sal Stewart's starting to heat up some. I think you're seeing that, not just at the plate, but, man, the play he made at third, nasty. I thought of you right away. I was like, this dude off platform. Who makes that throw? Him and Caleb Williams? In your mind,
what a shout for me.
In your mind, those are the only 2 people on the planet, Sal Stewart and Caleb Williams, that can go off platform like that. Look, they need Arroyo to be enough. And here's the other part of this, because everyone's going to focus on Arroyo. Hey, Matt McLain. It's time, Matt McLain. Yeah. If there's ever a time, this is Die Hard, and McLain needs to step up.
You're right.
Do you get that reference?
I do. Okay. I do. Great Christmas movie. No, I do. McLain has to step up, and I think he playing shortstop might help. Obviously, he's played second base the whole time throughout the majors, but he was a shortstop through the minors when he got called up in 23. He started as shortstop before Ellie got called up. This is the position he played at UCLA as well, so maybe a little bit more familiarity there. I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws to try to get McLain back to someone that's a serviceable piece for this Reds lineup at this point.
Needs to be serviceable at least. Be nice if he was better. Even for a month. Just do it for a month, awesome. Matt. Just channel.
This month. Do it for this month.
Well, yeah, not a month. That's true. This month. Yeah. Starting now. Do you think the snap worked? Do you think it worked? I don't know. I'm not Thanos. But if Thanos had the power, he would give Matt McLain the power. We have the power to get to our poll question. We'll do that next, right here on First Word.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with the First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the Working Lunch. Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. Built for Cincinnati. First Word for your morning sports, the Working Lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe. Hi, my name is Natalie Jones. Just your typical 40-year-old Cincinnati girl. Although, no, I'm not married or divorced. I don't have any kids, and I don't live in the neighborhood I grew up in, which is the West Side, by the way. But what I do have is a lot of freaking time, and I've been using it well. So come along with me on this grand adventure, because I've been trying all the new around town that you need to know about. This is Nat Tries That.
My name is Jack Crumley. I've been covering news in Cincinnati on the radio for the last 20 years. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, but Cincinnati has always felt like home since day one. I've seen so many things accomplished here, and now, with the Working Lunch, I get to write, read, and talk about them every day. Hard-working people with a drive and a dream. Innovative ideas that help shape this city. Cincinnati is a great city, and I'm excited to tell you about it every day.
Paul Fritchner back here for another Rebound Rundown local update, this time for the Xavier Musketeers under second-year head coach Richard Pitino, turning over some of the roster, but not quite as much as last year in his first season when he basically had to put together an entirely new team. He brings back some faces from this past year's team. Jovan Milicevic, the only one who played. Gabe Pizzato, expected to be a key player on this upcoming season's team. He had a torn meniscus. Cason Westball redshirted as well. Jovan Milicevic, a really crucial star player for Xavier, is back. And then they add a couple of SEC starters in Mike Nwoko, the starting center from LSU, Ruben Dominguez, a sharpshooter from Texas A&M, plus Chance Westry, a point guard from UAB, True Washington, who played for Richard Pitino at New Mexico, then went to Miami, Florida. He is back playing for Richard Pitino, a really talented two-way player. A lot of pieces to be excited about on this Xavier team, and you can stay tuned for all of that and more right here on the Rebound Rundown.
Happy Tuesday and welcome into First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show Cincinnati every single weekday 7 to 11 right here on The Crown. Right here on The Crown.
I got to do it if you're not going to do it.
Oh, that's true. I haven't been doing it today.
I know.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm a big hit the desk
Move it
guy.
around. Yeah, you've gotten that over here too.
Oh, yeah. It's worn on you.
Big time.
Yeah. You know what hasn't worn on you? The Mitch Tinsley love. I can't believe it's on our socials now. The thing he just said about Odell, as in Odell Beckham Jr., not Odell Beckham III, which is more likely to have a bunch of catches than Odell Beckham Jr. in the year 2026. Anyways, let's dive into today's poll question, and it involves Elly De La Cruz, and obviously Edwin Arroyo was promoted, one of the Reds' top prospects. Meanwhile, Elly De La Cruz put on the 10-day injured list and could miss more time than that, could miss a month. And so it's pretty simple. Are you more bummed about Elly De La Cruz going on the 10-day injured list or excited to see Edwin Arroyo get his opportunity in the big leagues? This has got to be the closest poll we've ever had. Even in the test polls.
It couldn't be closer.
I mean,
this is about as close as it could get on a poll. No, I think this is the exact correct answer, percentage-wise, to this poll. Slightly more excited to see Arroyo because the Elly news was not super long-term.
Yeah.
I think after Sunday's game and seeing Elly De La Cruz pull up on first base on a ball that it could have maybe been a triple in the right field gap, you think maybe this is a really long-term injury. Maybe we're getting a transaction alert from the Reds that's much longer than 10 days, and that's not what you want to see. Now, obviously, it's never great to miss Elly De La Cruz, especially in the Reds lineup that needs star power, and he's one of the only guys that can provide that when he's playing his best. But it's exciting to see top prospects when you're a team like the Reds. These are the guys that are
it's exciting to see top prospects. You
For
don't
sure.
need the caveat.
I do think it means more to small market teams than big market teams.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, you see a prospect debut for the Yankees, and the first conversation is who's the star we can trade him for. When they debut for the Reds, it's let's hope they progress and be the core of this team.
If you're good enough, you don't get traded.
I guess that's fair.
I'm just saying, but yeah, look, especially the you and your disclaimers. You have the disclaimer, especially when you're in a small market, big market.
Cincinnati?
Big market, baby. Okay. Yeah, that's right. What do you mean?
It's very small.
Small from a baseball standpoint. Yeah. Fine size market. This idea,
like TV market.
The mentality, that mentality. Oh, small market. Like no, the standard is the standard. Is the standard.
Is the standard.
It is. Yeah. Look, I'm more bummed about Elly De La Cruz, and that doesn't mean I'm not excited about Edwin Arroyo, but this was always coming for Arroyo. He was always destined to wear a Reds uniform this season. He was always going to get promoted, maybe sooner rather than later. But even if it was later, it was going to happen this season, and it stinks. And we kind of referenced it yesterday a little bit, the Super 2 part of this.
Yeah.
Like if he's good and he's up, that's it.
Yeah.
And he's going to miss that, and that can cost, if he's as good as you think he's going to be, that's going to hurt the small market Reds.
Absolutely.
It will.
No, absolutely. But you don't have the option right now. De La Cruz forced your hand. Obviously, you need talent in the lineup somewhere, and Arroyo can provide that, at least hopefully can provide that. You know, there's not a lot of other players that you can even bank on the ceiling being as high as Arroyo's is at this point.
John McClain isn't coming to save the day, so it's got to be Matt McClain.
No, he's not. And hopefully McClain can play a pretty decent shortstop defensively out there and take a lot of pressure off of Arroyo, whether he's at second or third. But I think it really is just, at this point, hoping there's no bad updates along the way for Elly as he tries to fight back from this injury, and then just hope Arroyo looks great.
I'm surprised that it seems so obvious that it's going to be Arroyo at second. We can dive into that more, and that McClain.
I think it's a bigger question.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll dive into that more later in the show. Up next, Bengals assistant GM Steve Radicevic. You'll hear from him, and we'll react to a big swing that was made in the NFL. That, as we continue, First Word just getting started here on a Tuesday, right here on The Craft.
Here with Heather Britt. She is the founder and creator of the Dan Smix Foundation. This is the first inaugural Kids Dance Day. Tell us what you've done.
So we've been in 9 schools over Greater Cincinnati that we have been teaching a dance to over the last 3 weeks. They've practiced and now they're coming together to perform and then see other arts experience. Cincinnati Ballet, Art Museum, Playhouse in the Park. So they're gonna have a great day.
Shoot. Let's go. You stepped aside with a vibe I ain't never seen. Yes, you did. This is so cool! This is so much fun! It would break my heart, break my heart, break my heart if I find out you ain't moved. You better show me now, show me now, show me now. Cause when I take it to the floor, you gotta get down. You know what to do. Hey, Mr. DJ. Oh, you guys are doing a great job. Whoa. Why did you want to start this and do this?
Our mission is health, happiness, connection, but really about arts access as well and inclusion.
Nice job. Nice job. Hey. Hey, your shoelaces are untied. Your shoelaces are untied. You don't know how to tie it? Can I do it? All right, cool. All right, I'll teach you. What's your name? Tayden. Tayden, have you been having fun today? Yeah. Now he's good to go. That was making me so nervous. 1, 2, 3, dance face! Great job today. Great job today.
This city has always had something to prove. While the rest of the country talked about us, we built our own voice. Blue collar, underdogs, built differently, overlooked, talked about like we were supposed to stay quiet. But that was never who we were, because this city doesn't wait for permission. And neither do we. And now, for the first time Cincinnati has a network built in its image because the biggest stories in this city deserve more than highlights. This isn't cable television. This isn't national media. This is ours. This is The Crown.
Let's keep it rolling here on a Tuesday edition of First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And coming up in 35 minutes, I can't wait for this. Marisa Contipelli goes one-on-one, and it's our first time seeing Marisa today with Roman Celentano, and going to be awesome to have Roman in studio. It's a two-part interview, one of the many things that Marisa did before going on vacation. She'll join us live next week, but excited to, I haven't seen this in its entirety yet, excited to check out part one of her interview with Roman.
Yeah, Roman was great when he came in the studio. It was awesome to have the chance to meet him, and obviously a great interview with Marisa. One-on-one, do you think she'd be able to score on him? She did great with the interview, but do you think she'd be able to score?
No.
I don't think so either.
What?
Maybe.
What
She
is
plays
that?
every other sport in the world.
Yeah, what is that? No, I couldn't either. The whole room is that. No, he couldn't guard me in football. That's way different. By the way, this is First Word. You can find us every single day live on RESN from 7 to 11. Obviously, YouTube as well. And live, listen live. Take us with you when you're in the car every morning on Mixlr. And it's not just First Word. Obviously, we're your morning sports show, Cincinnati, but the Working Lunch with Jack Crumley live every weekday, 12 to 1. And then make sure you check out the Nat Jones Show. Nat Tries That and Rebound Rundown right here on The Crown. Look at that. Paul Fritchner is going to love it. Rebound Rundown on The Crown.
Put that in your rundown and rebound it.
That's right. I'm going to do that. You know what else we're going to rebound? We're going to rebound the conversation Marisa had with Steve Radicevic, the Bengals assistant GM. He was in studio, had a lot to say, and given what happened yesterday with the Myles Garrett trade, the big swing that the Rams took, well, guess what? The Bengals took a big swing as well this offseason when they traded for Dexter Lawrence. Here's Steve and Marisa discussing all things Dexter Lawrence and what went into that blockbuster trade.
We felt like we needed to take a swing, and we did. And again, we feel like he is not only going to be able to impact our club this year, but for future years, and hopefully get us to what our goal is. Someone that we had wanted to target before, but just were never able to do it. But yeah, this one was a couple-week process.
Obviously, Dexter's reputation, speaks for itself. He's the best nose tackle in football. But why was he a player that this team wanted to target, and how do you see him fitting in?
Yeah, really, again, just to hit on who he is as a person. We did all our research. We did all our homework on him. We talked to players that have been around him. We talked to coaches that have been around him. We felt like he was going to be someone that would be able to come in and elevate our locker room, elevate our club just as a person. Now, as a player, the tape pretty much speaks for itself. When you watch the guy on tape, he's constantly taking on double teams. He's able to split the double team. He's still able to affect the quarterback just in terms of who he is as a pass rusher and how much power he has to bull and collapse a pocket. And that we felt like that was something that we were missing last year. So when you have a guy like that that's able to drive centers back, and now you've got DNs that kind of are able to close the edge, we felt like in terms of what he was going to be able to bring to our defense, he was going to be able to benefit us.
So you mentioned a lot of meetings, a lot of time goes into this process, but what is it like for you when it's finally over, it's official, Dexter's a Bengal? Is it like a big sigh of relief almost?
Yeah, again, there were so many layers to it, and I would say it just really started to pick up the weekend that it happened going into it. We're talking to the Giants. We finally get the green light to move forward with it. We were able to negotiate and try to get a contract in a good place with his representatives. And, even then, you didn't feel great about it because you still need to bring him out and you need to go through the physical part of it. We brought him out. Everything checked out. And, but yeah, it is a huge sigh of relief when you're able to finally get that processed.
And it also just speaks volumes that, the team had never traded a top 10 draft pick before, but obviously a guy like Dexter, warranted moving on from the 10th overall pick to bring in a caliber player like him.
Yeah, it's something that we had to discuss tirelessly, and it was meeting after meeting, and are we making the right decision for the club? And we felt like at the end of the day, it was the right decision, and we are very happy with having done it.
Good stuff there. Bengals assistant GM Steve Radicevic going one-on-one here in studio with Marisa Contipelli. We played that entire thing on yesterday's show. You can check it out wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, but not yet. Don't do that yet. By the way, those watching on YouTube, we did have a poll question out there. 24% say yes, the Rams overpaid for Myles Garrett. 76% say no. The Rams made multiple big swings this offseason. The Bengals make the big swing for the Dexter Lawrence trade. Common theme here, contending teams trying to not only remain contenders, but get over the hump with big moves.
Absolutely. It's every single team that even can convince themselves they're in contention, making a move to bolster that roster.
The Browns. Oh, wait. Go.
Not quite, but certainly the Rams twice with
Yes.
McDuffie and Garrett. But it doesn't just stop there. Obviously, the Chiefs made a big signing at the beginning of free agency, going out and giving a ton of money to Kenneth Walker to overhaul their backfield. The Bills go trade for DJ Moore. We saw ripples really throughout the entirety of the league. Jalen Waddle for a first-round pick to the Broncos, who were in the AFC Championship game last year, and then the Bengals flipping the 10th overall pick for Dexter Lawrence. Anyone who thinks they're a contender this year is adding to their roster. And I think that's the biggest thing for the Bengals, to have them be taken seriously this season after the last couple seasons missing the playoffs, is that you have to be one of these teams. If the other teams that you're competing with to win a Super Bowl are adding star players to their team and extending young talent and doing it all at the same time, you have to do it too, and that's where the Bengals have fallen short over the last few years. They've done a good job of retaining the talent they had for the most part and keep getting extensions done on the bigger side of things, and then fell short in free agency. This year wasn't the case. Went out and made big-time signings in free agency, culminated the offseason with a big-time trade for Dexter Lawrence, and now people are talking about the Bengals as a Super Bowl contender. It's almost like that's just what it takes in order to get there, is swings like this.
Yeah, it does, and it's honestly, the big trade is what free agency was like 10 to 12 years ago. Yeah. When you looked at every Super Bowl contender and they were adding in free agency, and I remember being like, man, the Bengals, if they want to get over the hump with Andy Dalton, they want to do this, they need to add in free agency. They need to make a move. Well, now everybody adds in free agency. And the Bengals caught up, and they did that, and they were really active early on in Joe Burrow's tenure, and were active in free agency this year. But then the next step now is being willing to move picks and make trades. And over the past couple of years, we've seen that. They've made multiple deadline deals, or deals ahead of the deadline, in back-to-back years, in-season trades. One for Herbert, and that didn't work out as well, the running back, and then obviously the Joe Flacco trade last year, which did work out, even though it didn't result in a bunch of wins. And then you make this move. And it's a common theme in the NFL, because one, it's hard to win. When you have a franchise quarterback and there are only so many, teams push their chips in. And the Bengals have one of the best, not just a franchise quarterback, one of the best. So you have to do that. This is one of those requirements. And it wasn't just Dexter Lawrence. The Bengals are very much sniffing around the Max Crosby acquisition part of it. And they love Dexter. They love the Max Crosby and what he brings. I think Dexter is safer. He's certainly healthier. and harder to find. So they make their swing, they take their swing. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I think in this new age NFL, like if it doesn't work for the Rams, I'm not going to blame them. They traded for Myles Garrett. I'm not going to blame the Bengals. They traded for Dexter Lawrence, and obviously they're different players. Myles is a better player. But the point remains, you make those attempts because it's so hard to win, and you need to try to win now.
The last 5 Super Bowl champions have made a major trade to build the core of their team that won the Super Bowl. And it's not, fill-in pieces here or there. It's major trades. Obviously, starting with the Rams beating the Bengals in that Super Bowl, Von Miller trade to add to their defense there. And then moving down the list, the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill for picks they used to move up in the draft to draft Trent McDuffie, who was obviously a lockdown corner they moved off of this offseason. They won back-to-back Super Bowls. The Eagles, the year before their Super Bowl championship, trade for A.J. Brown, who they just moved off of, changed their whole offense. And then last year, DK Metcalf traded from the Seahawks to the Steelers, used those picks to move up in the second round for Nicky Manwari, who was a huge piece of the Seahawks defense last year that led them to the Super Bowl. So if you want to win a championship, you have to continually add to your roster and continue to get better. Everyone in the organization, from the players to the coaches to the front office, has to be on the same page to maximize the talent you have in the building. And once the Bengals have one of the best quarterbacks, one of the best receivers, an exciting young running back in Chase Brown, and all 5 offensive linemen returning this year, it's time to add to the defense and have it match up. And the Bengals did with a big swing for Dexter Lawrence. But you mentioned Myles Garrett obviously traded to the Rams yesterday. You mentioned the Max Crosby trade earlier this offseason. That one didn't go through. We know why, but the compensation was agreed to. And I think after these 2 trades for Crosby and Garrett, my biggest takeaway here is, did the Bengals get a steal in Dexter Lawrence?
Oh, look, I thought it was a lot to give up until they signed him to a 1-year, $23 million contract extension. And then it was like, oh, you have Dexter Lawrence under contract for 3 years. It's a very reasonable deal. And so, yeah, I mean, I think when you look at these trades and what it costs, yes. I mean, Jared Verse is a real dude, real player. First, second, third, it's Myles Garrett. I would have done it. I get it. I understand it. Like, if I'm the Bengals, I would have done whatever. I would have moved mountains to try to get Myles Garrett. Obviously, that wouldn't happen in division. Understand why the Rams made the trade. Not sure you can overpay within reason for a guy like that. But did the Bengals get good value on buying low with Dexter Lawrence? If he's who they think he is, the answer is yes. They got great value. And we'll certainly continue the Dexter Lawrence conversation coming up really throughout the offseason, let's be honest. But coming up in 20 minutes, Roman Celentano in studio with Marisa Contipelli. But While You Slept is next, right here on First Word.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, a Cincinnati native, and I have been in media for about 10 years now. Formerly on the radio here in Cincinnati, I grew my love and obsession with finding all things fun in Cincinnati and have now made it my life. I'm originally from the West Side here, and then I've pretty much been a downtown girl ever since college. But I did leave for 7 years, and during that time, I really grew and harnessed and cut my teeth doing stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, learning how to ski in Colorado, and now I'm back here in Cincinnati, driven by curiosity and grounded by family.
Cincinnati, home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies. A city where you know someone who knows someone, and you're in business. Every weekday at noon, The Working Lunch brings you headlines from local businesses, along with exclusive interviews with owners and local leaders. East Side, West Side, northern suburbs, downtown over the Rhine, and northern Kentucky. Real conversations, real Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays at noon, only on The Crown.
Another Rebound Rundown local update. We're hopping across the Ohio River this time to Highland Heights in northern Kentucky, taking a look at Darren Horn's squad. The Norse trying to win the Horizon League, something they did a few years ago, something they've done multiple times under Darren Horn, trying to do that again with a fairly new look roster. Some returners, some fresh faces. Eric Acker from LaSalle, Noah Pagano, Will Short, BJ Davis-Ray, the addition from SMU. Saw a lot of game action at SMU as far as games played, but didn't see a ton of minutes with the Mustangs. But that is a high-profile ACC high major conference transfer that'll be suiting up for NKU this season. That is a major addition. Plus, you get the return of point guard Ethan Elliott, looking to add some more scoring there to Ethan Elliott's game this upcoming season. A lot to be excited about. One of the top squads expected to be in the Horizon League this year are the Norse. So stay tuned for plenty more right here about the Norse on the Rebound Rundown.
I'm James Rapien, and this is your first word Bengals Minute. It's no secret that the Bengals made a gigantic move this offseason when they traded for Dexter Lawrence. The 6'4", 340-pound defensive tackle should transform a defense that has been awful over the past couple of years. The Bengals haven't made the playoffs since 2022, in large part because of the departures of key pieces of the teams that went to back-to-back AFC championship games, teams that were Super Bowl contenders. Are the Bengals a Super Bowl contender with Dexter Lawrence? That remains to be seen. But what we do know is they have an identity on defense, and it revolves around Dexter Lawrence. By trading the 10th pick, the only time in team history they traded a top 10 draft pick for a player, they added a guy that should transform their defense and give them a real shot at getting back to Super Bowl contention. For more on the Bengals, make sure you check out First Word every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Open those mics as we keep it rolling on a Tuesday edition of First Word. I'm James Rapien, alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And shout out to you. We've had our YouTube page open for 5 days. Got over 3,300 subscribers. A reminder that you can watch us live on YouTube, on RESN. You can watch us live on X right now, streaming. So if you're watching us anywhere, certainly shout out to you. You can also listen on Mixlr and wherever you get your podcasts. So plenty of ways to follow, listen, and watch Cincinnati's only morning sports show. It's to get you caught up on everything that you missed and while you slept. And it starts with the Reds. Boy, oh boy. Jacob Tissot was so excited. It was Burns Day. He was going to Great American Ballpark. Chase Burns was set to pitch. And then he got scratched due to an illness. We'll see if he pitches tomorrow. There's a chance he pitches tomorrow. But that happened, and then everything fell apart, and they lose to the Royals. How confident were you when Burns gets scratched? And you see the news, and you see that they're going to go with the opener, and they're going to go with Richardson. Like, when all that happens, what's going through your mind?
So confident that I sold my tickets to the game and didn't even go last night.
Sold his tickets.
I opted out.
I didn't know you sold your tickets. I knew you didn't go.
Of watching a Lion Richardson start last night. I was not interested.
You're not a big Lion guy?
In that one. No. Did watch on TV and was just as unenjoyable as I figured it would be at the ballpark. This game was over from the start.
The grand slam, are you like?
Instantaneous in the first inning. It was painful to end. I mean, every time we talk about this Reds rotation and this Reds bullpen, it circles back to one thing, and it's we need the starters to give significant length in the games because there's not enough bullpen arms to have faith in getting multiple innings done through the back end of a game if it's close. Well, let's start the bullpen and see how that goes. And it goes exactly as you'd expect. 9 runs, a grand slam in the first. The Reds scored 2 in the most infuriating way possible. A solo home run in the first and then a run in the 9th. So 2 really meaningless runs in a game that was over from the start. But J.J. Bleday still hitting. Another home run, another walk, another RBI last night. He has been just an absolute joy for the Reds this year in the outfield, and I really don't know where this lineup would be without him at this point. But the Reds are going to have to figure something out, both in this bullpen and in this rotation, if they can't get healthy.
Yeah, they are. Oh my goodness. Even JJ Bleday,
Yeah.
you look at it and it's like, oh well, obviously I had the RBI, but the 3 strikeouts stand out. The 13 hits to a Royals team that it should take 7 days to get to 13 hits stands out to me, and that's just the Lyon Richardson position that they were in.
Yeah.
It feels like there's just a ton of pressure now to get these next 2. The one bright spot. And we can dive more into the Reds' outlook and all of those things as we roll on here. Just a game above 500 now. Elly De La Cruz obviously set to miss significant time. We'll hear from Terry Francona multiple times throughout the morning here on Elly. But Edwin Arroyo, up. When you see that, and we'll dive into the poll question, which involves Arroyo, you're like, ugh. Because of Elly? Or were you like, hey, I get to see my guy?
I was more excited than not because of the verbiage on the transactions post from the Reds. It was a 10-day IL for Elly originally, and it felt like the Reds had dodged a bullet there with the hamstring for De La Cruz not missing more than about 10 games. That's somewhat changed since, after we heard from Terry Francona before the game. But Edwin Arroyo is, in my mind, the second or third baseman potentially of the future of this team. Certainly has a position in this infield I think he can claim and be an everyday player here. From what we've seen from Matt McLain so far this year and last, doesn't seem like he's someone you can really rely on at second base from an offensive perspective. And last night, Arroyo looked great defensively. Made a phenomenal play at second very early in the game. A little bit of a welcome to the show moment. It was great to see because Arroyo has not played many games at second base in his minor league tenure. And he comes up, and his 33rd career game at second base was last night in his major league debut, and he looked like he's been playing it his whole life. So that was a great, great thing to see from him. Needs to figure it out at the plate a little bit. Got the hit in the 9th, which was great, but fishing in the other batter's box a few times on those strikeouts earlier in the game. So some of that will just come with comfort. I'm sure he was very excited and in his own head last night a little bit, especially when you get down early. You want to be a hero in your major league debut. So hopefully as he settles, he'll get to be closer to the player that we've seen in AAA so far this year. But I think it's really exciting to have him up here. It's not how you want him up here, but anytime a top prospect gets called up, I think it's something Reds fans should be excited about.
Yeah, 1, it's exciting. 2, I think when you're down like that and it's your debut, you're like, all right, I'm going to be aggressive.
Exactly.
And I'm going to be really, not just to impress in your debut, but maybe I can be the reason we turn things around.
Yeah.
I'm here for a reason. You press a little bit, and I totally get that. Here's Edwin Arroyo on his hit and on his MLB debut after the game.
Yeah, it didn't start how I wanted, but it finished how I wanted. So great for the opportunity and excited for the first game.
What was a moment like the first hit, the ball, maybe where the ball's going? Have you thought about any of that?
No, I was just listening to the fans, and it was great. It was great. I was really excited after that. So hopefully, let's keep it going.
Were you able to soak in that moment, listening to the fans?
It was really exciting. It got me a little of thought of WBC in Puerto Rico, really loud. A lot of people, cheering. So really excited, and hopefully they keep coming and keep cheering for the team.
What moment had you your sister, I think, cheering up in the crowd as well. How special it is to have your family here and to have her watching you.
Great. She was the only one here today from the family. I'm glad she could make it on time. The rest will come tomorrow, but I'm happy and glad she could enjoy it.
I don't know if you noticed, she couldn't sit down the entire game. She was that nervous for you. You haven't seen that yet?
She gets really excited. People that talk around, she gets a little distracted, but I'm glad she had fun.
What had you more hyped up, the sliding play or the hit?
Both. The first play, it was the first play. It was the first hit. It's a little different of excitement, but both were really exciting.
I mean, you haven't played a ton of second base in the minor leagues. To come up here and prove you can play that spot, how important is that for you carving out a role?
Good. I played the last couple weeks. I was playing a little more second, so I could feel comfortable. Tito asked me if I was feeling comfortable there. I said yes. So wherever they put me, I'm gonna, try and feel as comfortable as there. So
If you would have asked you if you would catch, if you're comfortable playing catcher, you would probably have said the same
I'll probably
thing.
go do and catch and block everything and be ready to go.
You know, there's the old saying, the joke, like, the ball always finds you. Were you not surprised that the first ball put in play went right to you?
Yeah, it's something always is going to happen the first game. It happened, you know. Now we pass the page and be ready for, you know, for the second game.
Payoff pitch.
Edwin
Guided
Arroyo,
right
someone
side.
that,
Arroyo
lifted
on the
back.
spin.
This was so smooth. Yeah. Smooth. Love it. Looked like me playing second base. Loved how he looked there, and then you see the hit. And you can build on that. I'm comfortable with it. I know you said fishing at the plate, but he gets the hit in front of his sister, and to slide and make that play.
Absolutely.
We will see. You can't replace Ellie De La Cruz, but maybe you can give me some hope here with Edwin Arroyo with the nice hit. And that I was more impressed by the sliding play at second. And I know it wasn't like the most difficult play in the world, but just how smooth he looked, popped up, made it routine, boom. That's what you want to see.
That's the thing that really excites me about Edwin Arroyo is the glove's really never been a question. He's been an elite defender the whole time through the minors, and then this year in AAA, the bat finally caught up, and he just became a complete player. And I think that's the hope that it just translates and something finally clicked for him on that side of things, because his glove has been able to play at the major league level for a couple of years now, and the conversation has always been, can the bat catch up and fit in the lineup? Hopefully it can stick, and he can have some big time hits in the next couple of days, and then there's no conversation about potentially sending him back down, or if he was just an Ellie replacement. I think that's something that's going to come up in about 10 days, and you know, the Reds go through and see who's viable on this roster or not. Arroyo has a chance to prove he belongs on this team for the long haul now, and hopefully he takes advantage.
Yeah, hopefully he does. We will certainly see that. One guy that's going to be here for the long haul is Jamar Chase. How nervous were you on Monday? He was nervous. He doesn't want to admit it. The Bengals answered the question because Jamar Chase, DJ Turner, and Joe Flacco all reporting for training, well, not there yet. For OTAs, though. Voluntary OTAs. No, but they're voluntary OTAs, and they hadn't been there, and so pretty noteworthy by the Bengals, for the Bengals. And they put out this video revealing that Uno is in the building. Yeah, a couple things there. One, awesome that they revealed that Joe Flacco was there, right? He should have been included?
For sure.
All right, so Joe Flacco should have been included. Jamar Chase, obviously, that was one that Jacob Tissot was really worried about. Let's get to the number 0. DJ Turner in 0. Rate it.
10. Well, 0.
0 is fine.
It's awesome.
So when he switched to 0, Jacob was like, oh my God, he's going to sign an extension. I think I buy that.
Really?
The Bengals aren't giving 0 for 1 year. I said that to someone. There's no way they're giving up 0 for 1 year and not getting a deal.
I agree. Also, the DJ Turner conversation from his side of things. If you're going to be a free agent, why change your number if there's any kind of Fanatics backlog you have to buy out in terms of jerseys with the 20? I know they were selling 20s at the end of last year, so just wait till you're on your new team if you're not going to sign an extension to change your number. So that was another little connection there, I think.
All pro in the 0?
I hope so. I hope so. You got to play well if you're wearing 0, and I'm very confident in DJ Turner's ability as a cornerback on this Bengals defense, but that's a big switch. A lot of pressure with the 0.
For sure. Plenty of Bengals coverage coming your way. Good to see Jamar Chase back. Obviously, you see T. Higgins there catching passes as well. And DJ Turner, they started doing 7-on-7 yesterday, and Zach Taylor set to talk later today. We will hear from Zach tomorrow right here on First Word. But let's continue with the multiple trades. The Myles Garrett trade, your reaction. My reaction, simple. He's not in the division anymore. Hallelujah. I also think that there are some that were like, Super Bowl 61, may have to deal with Myles Garrett.
If we're dealing with Myles Garrett in the Super Bowl this year, that's a great, great problem to have. Just get there, win a few playoff games, and then we can cross that bridge. But obviously great news that Myles Garrett is no longer in the division. Not to play him twice a year is huge. Jared Verse, a great ascending young player in this league, obviously has a chance to become a really, really special edge rusher in the NFL, but he's not Myles Garrett yet. And the Bengals would have had to play Myles Garrett twice this year. They no longer do. That is a win.
It is a win. There's no doubt about it. I think that the Eagles won yesterday. Did you see what they got for A.J. Brown? They get a first-round pick for A.J. Brown. I thought it would be less. I think everybody thought that he was going to end up in New England. He's already there, already reporting for OTAs. This was like written months and months ago. I just thought it almost seemed too obvious that it wasn't going to happen because everyone expected it to happen. Well, it happened. He's a New England Patriot.
Yeah, any difference between real difference between the 27 one and a 28 one there in terms of the not getting a one conversation? It's still a first round pick. I get it.
It is. It's a year later.
Right.
So yeah, I think it has a chance to be a better pick though. If you think about the Patriots and where they're at and where A.J. Brown is at. I get that as well.
You talk about teams that think they're contenders going out and making swings. Patriots win the AFC Championship last year, get blown out in the Super Bowl by the Seahawks, go at a true wide receiver one for Drake May. So, I mean, anyone who thinks they're anyone. Sorry?
Is he still a wide receiver
Brown?
one?
I think so.
Yeah, I wonder. I think he's got to prove that now. He's 28, but it feels like he's an old 28.
For sure.
Throw that out there, and you get what I'm saying. Barely crossed 1,000 yards last year. It was weird in Philly.
Quarterback play.
He's needy. No. In NFL, A.J. Brown is needy.
For sure.
And it should just be a reminder because there was a time in his career where I'd be like, oh, I would take A.J. Brown over T. Higgins. I would not take A.J. Brown over T. Higgins today. Just throw that out there.
He's a well-read superstar, though. Keeps up on his books on the sideline.
He does something. He does something. I'm not going to dive into A.J. Brown's reading on the sideline.
I'm excited for Devontae Smith, wide receiver one season in Philly.
Mekhi Lemon.
Yeah. The undersized slot receiver.
This Alabama guy, it finds every way, just craps all over Jalen Hurts a second ago.
Mekhi Lemon.
And then goes after it. Devontae Smith. Yeah, Devontae Smith's a beast. Loved him in college.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts can't throw over the
middle. You were at
so
Bama with Smith, right?
Heisman year, my freshman year.
Heisman year's freshman year, of course. Yeah. Meanwhile,
200 yards in the first half of the national championship. Unbelievable.
He was awesome. Not as good as Jamar, but awesome. You know who else isn't as good as Jamar ever? Odell Beckham Jr.
Okay, fair.
Not as good as Jamar Chase, but guess what? He is back in the league. Did you see? Back in the league, Odell is with the New York Giants again, reunited. Does Odell have anything in the tank? Anything?
I don't know. Probably not, but this is fun. This is going to be really cool to see him back out there. Probably the end of his career. He's going to hang him up in a Giants uniform like he should. I absolutely love this. It's a good reunion. If Malik Neighbors is going to get healthy this season and come back on the field, you get a chance to have them both on the field together, which will be great for Giants fans to see. This is more of a vibes signing to me than a football signing. I don't know how much Odo really has left, but the Giants wide receiver room doesn't have much. They added 3 wide receivers yesterday, so certainly looking to add something to that room. It's fun to add Odell.
Who has more yards, Mitch Tinsley or Odell Beckham Jr.?
Odell.
This year?
I think so.
Mitch Tinsley. I'll bet. What do you want to bet? Lunch.
Sure.
Lunch.
Works.
Clip it, Gabe. Lunch. There's no way Odell. And I'm a receiver guy. It's over.
I don't think he's going to be good.
It's over. Mitch Tinsley's good.
Yeah.
Mitch Tinsley probably starts for New York.
I don't disagree, but he doesn't start for the Bengals.
No
and
doubt.
Odell might start for the Giants.
Yeah. No, he won't.
What, you've been Darius Slayton
start? Yes. Way better than Odell.
Yeah.
Odell hasn't played in a meaningful game.
Jalen Hyatt?
Since the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl.
I did see some
against the Bengals.
Yeah, some Dolphins jerseys on the graphics yesterday.
He played for the Dolphins, but he didn't play. Chad Johnson had a bigger impact for the Dolphins than Odell.
No, you're right. I'm certainly not expecting Odell to be a good receiver this year, but I do think he'll be on the field.
I can't believe I became the anti-wide receiver guy there. But yeah, give me Mitch Tinsley all day long. We're just getting started here on First Word. Plenty to get to, including Bengals, including Reds. I'm just looking at everything. Stay with us here, with you till 11 o'clock right here on First Word.
This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Previews, recaps, breakdowns, interviews, and more. You can find it all right here. Your one-stop shop for a quick dose of college hoops on your morning commute. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the Working Lunch, Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. First Word for your morning sports, Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, the Working Lunch for business that hits home, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
My name is Jacob Tissot, and I'm a co-host of First Word from 7 to 11 every morning right here on the Crown Network, where we will break down the biggest stories in Cincinnati sports. I'm a graduate of the University of Alabama, where I spent 4 seasons working for the football team as a student assistant, contributing to the 2020 National Championship and 3 SEC championships. I'm a Cincinnati native, a St. Xavier High School graduate, and will bring a local perspective and passion to covering the Bengals, Reds, and everything in between. I'm excited to have you join us on First Word.
I'm James Rapien, and this is your First Word Bengals Minute. Obviously, Dexter Lawrence was a big addition this offseason, but I'm not sure there's going to be a guy that has a bigger impact than Brian Cook. Why? Well, it's pretty simple. The Bengals safeties have stunk over the past couple of years, and the Bengals have missed the playoffs not 1, not 2, but 3 straight seasons. That coincides, that streak, with the loss of Jesse Bates. And Brian Cook is someone that's going to come in and bring leadership, bring 2 Super Bowl rings, and bring the identity that they need on the back end because he's going to do his job. Jesse Bates was so good at putting out fires around him, covering up mistakes that other people would make on defense. Brian Cook can do that. He's big, he's fast, he's physical. Joe Burrow has praised him for what he's done to the Bengals locker room from a culture standpoint, what he's brought. Brian Cook is going to be a game changer. For more, make sure you check out First Word weekdays, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Coming up in 12 minutes, you're going to hear one national analyst that is bullish Jacob Tissot on the Bengals. I'm James Rapien. He's Jacob Tissot. This is First Word, your morning show in Cincinnati. You can catch us every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And Marisa Contipelli, well, she's on vacation. She's got her feet up. But before she went on vacation, she caught up with FC Cincinnati star Roman Celentano. Here's part 1 of their conversation.
It is time for a Queen City Spotlight, and I have the honor of being joined by FC Cincinnati goalkeeper Roman Celentano. Roman, it is awesome to have you stop by the set. Appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, need to start off by asking, FC Cincinnati is at this World Cup break, about halfway through the season, really in the thick of things in that Eastern Conference playoff race. Just from your perspective, how would you kind of describe how the season has gone for you guys so far?
Obviously, we're halfway through now, so we kind of have an idea of where we're at as a team. And if I'm going to be honest, we're not where we need to be. We're not where I think our ownership really expects us to be. We're not where we need to be as players at the level that we need to be playing at. But the good thing is we still have a lot of games left. We still have a lot of time to turn things around. But the past couple of years, we've just been competing for, Supporter Shield. We've been in playoff races. So we see ourselves as one of the best teams in the league. And this year really hasn't gone to plan, and, for a lot of different factors. But the good thing is we have a break, coming up to maybe reset, figure some things out, and get back to it the second half of the year.
You said that this team isn't where it wants to get to, but what would you say you've maybe learned about you and your teammates over the course of the first 4 months?
Every year, rosters change, different guys come in, different guys go out. The first part of the season is getting used to guys. I think figuring out what certain strengths and weaknesses are of different guys on the team and figuring out how we want to work together as a group to get wins and get things done. And I feel like the first couple of games, the first portion of the season, we were doing well, figuring things out, and we had a rough patch and things weren't really going well, but I feel like it kind of shows us, what we have to work with when things don't go well. And you don't want to have those lessons be as, getting knocked out of maybe our Champions Cup game down in Tigres, or maybe losing some big MLS games. I think it's, never great to happen, but, you only learn when you lose. So a lot of those games, we took some good lessons, and hopefully we'll take that with us throughout the rest of the year. How we want to be, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is what we have right now, and we haven't proven it this year. And in years past, we did a great job of, being sound defensively and having our, offensive players take over the games at certain moments and get us results. And this year, we haven't been as cohesive as a group. There's been times we've been good defensively, but then there's times we haven't been good defensively. And, it's a team effort. You can't have one player doing well and, someone else not doing well. So we need to figure out a way to come together as a group. But I have a lot of belief and faith in the group, and I feel like we'll turn things around the second half of the year.
You mentioned those defenders, and you look at your back line. Just how would you kind of describe the chemistry that you guys play with there in the back, and maybe what's your approach to some leadership and communication with those guys?
Defense, I feel like, is an important thing to, be on the same page about. You have to know certain guys' tendencies. You have to know who you're playing with, and a lot of that comes with experience. And obviously, you never want injuries, but injuries happen in the game, and you're going to have a revolving door of different things throughout the season with different injuries or certain guys being in different spots. And, it's hard to kind of get on the same page with certain guys if different guys are in different positions at different times. But at the end of the day, you need to know your teammates. And I feel like a lot of that comes in training, comes with playing games. And I feel like we're getting in a better spot now because I've had time with certain guys, but a lot of the guys have been here. So you have to understand the tendencies of certain guys, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and how to position yourself with that. And also, soccer is a global game, so we have a lot of guys from different nationalities, and some of the guys don't speak great English. So in certain moments of the game, you need to communicate something. You might not understand the English, so maybe you need to learn a little bit of Spanish to be able to communicate in those situations.
How challenging are those times where there is a language barrier in the sport? And is there anything that you've done over the years to maybe help with that communication with some of the players?
I feel like the guys do a good job when they come from different places to learn English and try to be on the same page, because a lot of the tactics on the field or video sessions are in English. And we do have some, Spanish-speaking people in the building to help with the communication. But in the heat of the moment, you need to know a couple certain phrases to help guys out in certain moments. So, Evan Loro, one of the goalies on the team, he's a really good Spanish speaker. So in certain moments, he'll tell me if I want to tell someone something, he can give me a couple words for it. So I have a very small Spanish, I wish I took Spanish in high school. I took German, so probably should have taken Spanish to help me in these situations. But I know a little bit to get me by on the field and to communicate with certain guys in certain moments.
You mentioned, too, some of those offensive players on this team. And Evander has had a great start to this campaign. Just what is it like, especially getting to watch a guy like him kind of, take over the field at times?
It's amazing. It's, an honor to play with him. He's an unbelievable player, but a great person as well. He's a glue guy in the locker room. He really gels, different guys together. He's a good leader on the field and off the field. It means everything to win games and to play football, soccer, but it's not gonna, change the way he is as a person. He's still a great guy in the locker room, and just, we have a lot of belief in the ways he can change the game for us on the field. So he's had a great start to the year, so we just want to hopefully get back on track so he's rewarded for his great play.
Now this year's team, it's kind of a mix and a blend of experienced veterans, some young players, returners, new faces. Just what has that challenge kind of been like of, bringing the team together as one cohesive unit? And, maybe is there anything that's kind of surprised you with the way you guys have kind of come together so far?
Every year it provides new opportunities for, different guys on the team, and some guys come in, some guys go out. So you just have to find a way to work with different guys you have. And it's in years past, maybe the transition's been easier because you're winning games. And when you're winning games, you don't really have to have, hard conversations, or you're not yelling at guys in practice as much, and you're not getting on each other's cases about certain things because things are going well. But when things aren't going well, you kind of see how people react to, adversity. And I think that's been good to kind of understand who we are as people. And I feel like at this point in the season, we kind of understand each other a bit better, and we're going to look to make things right.
Now, earlier this season, you made your 150th appearance for FC Cincinnati, only the 4th player to do so. You're already the all-time club leader in minutes played. Just what do those kind of club milestones mean to you?
For me, Cincinnati's a newer club. They haven't been in MLS that long, so obviously a lot of records are going to be broken and continue to be broken by certain guys. So for me, I just think it's a credit to the team and the staff. And, when Pat Noonan and Chris Albright came in, they gave me an opportunity to come on the team. So I just got to give them a lot of credit for believing in me and giving me the opportunity to play. And it's been, fun so far, but we have a lot more we want to do as a club. So hopefully we'll just keep stacking games.
But I have to imagine it's pretty neat, too, that hopefully, years and years down the road, you can look back and your name is still, in those record books.
I guess it'll be cool. It's more for my parents than me, but, it's just something nice to think about.
Lifted into the penalty area. That's Bauer, and that's Will. That's saved, and that's Surridge, and he still saves it on the line. 1 of 60 seconds for Roman Celentano.
You're only the 4th goalkeeper in MLS history to have won Save of the Year multiple times now in your career. Just what does that pride, or do you take pride in the fact that you can make, those really difficult saves like that and get recognized for it?
The awards, I feel like, are more for my parents, I guess. It's nice to have those. It's nice to be recognized for that, because it's, being a goalkeeper is about moments. It's the hardest thing to do as a goalkeeper is be consistent throughout a season. So I feel like that's more important than making the big save. But I feel like if I'm getting recognized for a big save in 2 years, you can make that ability. You have the ability to make a big save in big moments. And I think, being a goalkeeper, you need to have that ability. And I'm happy that I think I have that. And hopefully I'll continue to make some more of those.
Both of those saves, the one from 23 and 25, were both iconic in each of their own ways. Which one ranks kind of higher for you out of those two?
It'd probably have to be the Columbus one, because you're playing against your rivals. Hell is real at home. It's the last minute of the game. And it's one of those saves where you don't think, it's just instinct, and your body's just taking over. And I feel like that's the best place to be as a goalkeeper. When you think, things slow down and you kind of kill yourself in that regard. So in that moment, I didn't really think about anything. My body just took over and I made the save. But it was nice in Nashville too, because my buddy, Brian Schwake, he's like the goalkeeper for Nashville right now. But he was on the bench, so it was the first time I played against one of my friends growing up. I'm like, I hope I have a good game today. Kind of like show off a little bit, and then we end up having that penalty save in that game. So that was a fun one for me personally. But the game against Columbus in 23, that was probably my best save.
Loved absolutely both of them. Yeah. Highlights on replay here. Roman, appreciate you stopping by the studio. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Really good stuff there in our Queen City Spotlight with Marisa and Roman Celentano. That's just part 1. Part 2 coming your way later this week. Up next, a national analyst that isn't known for his Bengals love. Loving what the Bengals have done this offseason. We'll get to that next right here on First Word.
Cincinnati, Ohio. We welcome you from Cincinnati, Ohio. Nick Hamlin, the fan favorite, to put it away. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Oh, what a catch. The Cincinnati Bears score. David scores and the Rams win.
A Rebound Rundown local update. Now let's talk about the Dayton Flyers and their roster under head coach Anthony Grant trying to get back to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2024. A rough season this past year where they had a fairly good non-conference but just couldn't get it done in A-10 play. Trying to flip the script now, and I really like the roster that they have put together. A couple of high major transfers. Zayd Lowry, one of them, coming over from Marquette. Travis Perry, another one, somebody you might remember who spent some time in a Kentucky uniform. Jalen Haynes, who didn't play at all for Cincinnati this past season, he's back in the A-10. Played at George Mason, didn't play now at Cincinnati after getting hurt, and he's back in the A-10 at Dayton. You add those new pieces to the returners to the Flyers, and I really like their chances in the A-10 this season. Stay tuned for plenty more on Dayton on the Rebound Rundown.
I'm Jacob Tissot, and it's time for another Tissot's Take. The Reds took Chase Burns with the second overall pick in the draft just a couple of years ago, and so far in his first full major league season, he's been one of the best pitchers in the National League. A fastball that can touch the triple digits, and it's not even his best pitch, one of the most dominant sliders in baseball. Burns has had a successful ERA, one of the lowest in the league so far, coupled with a top 10 whip in baseball for starting pitchers. He has been dominant on the mound with elite strikeout stuff, struggled a little bit with the walks, but has been able to reel that back in over his last few starts, and seriously looks like one of the best pitchers in baseball at only 23 years old. The sky's the limit for Chase Burns, and that's what you're hoping for if you're the Cincinnati Reds, taking a college pitcher second overall in the draft. I'm Jacob Tissot, and you're watching First Word. Stay tuned till 11 a.m. for more on the Reds and Bengals.
Hey, I'm Marisa Contipelli, one of the co-hosts on First Word and a features producer here on The Crown, where I will be out and about in Cincinnati bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City. Now, I know I'm from Cleveland, but I love my Cincy sports. I've been in Cincinnati for almost a decade now, spending the last 8 seasons with the Bengals as a team reporter and senior producer. I am so excited to be a part of the team here at The Crown, and I can't wait to bring you the latest from around the city.
Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien, and I'm at the desk with a clown. No, I'm just kidding. But man, you were clowning during the break. Jacob Tissot, you weren't ready for that.
No, I was
Clown
not.
Boy would not be a
No,
good
I don't like that one. I don't like that one.
That would not be a good nickname for my guy Jacob. And I'm not going to call you Clown Boy.
But you just did twice.
I'm just saying.
Twice.
It wouldn't be a great nickname.
No.
Let's dive into what Adam Schefter, who's not popular, a lot of Bengals fans referred to him as Clown. And that's what they do, whether it's fair or not. That is something that does happen and has happened. And maybe that changes today. Because Adam Schefter, bullish on Joe Burrow, bullish on the Cincinnati Bengals and what they've done this offseason after multiple years of, I can't believe Shefty's still reporting on the Bengals and Shefty doesn't know anything. Well, Adam Schefter praising the Bengals on ESPN yesterday.
If Joe Burrow is healthy, they're probably going to be playing with a lead a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're playing with the lead, it takes a lot of the pressure off what should be a much improved defense. And Joe Burrow himself has said that this is the best roster that he's played with in Cincinnati. And if we go back and look, the Bengals did go to a Super Bowl before and nearly won it in Los Angeles with Joe Burrow playing. He thinks this roster might be better. And let's also remember this. Their schedule is about as easy as any schedule in the league. It is set up It is set up for the Bengals to have a big year and for them to be a dangerous team.
Adam Schefter, pro Bengals, ... question mark?
Probably not, but at least was in that clip. It was a nice little change of pace.
I just know you're part of the Schefter hates the Bengals. I just
No.
know without even looking or analyzing your past, I just know Jacob Tissot definitely raises his eyebrow at Adam Schefter.
Yeah, if I open my Twitter, For You page and I'm scrolling, there's a Bengals logo in Schefter's face, I'll scroll right by. But when he sends something nice, I'll have to go back and see it. It's usually so negative and anti-Bengals.
Well, that's why you come to First Word.
Exactly,
We'll share
and
the good
that's
stuff.
why this city needs a show like this, because the national analysts, until this offseason, gave these teams no love, and they never really have. And now, obviously, the Bengals made some changes this offseason with how they operate, made some big swings, and that love is starting to pour in on a lot of national shows. The Bengals are trending in the public, both gambling and on sports talk shows nationwide, as one of the most common Super Bowl picks to win the Super Bowl, to win the AFC, to win the North. Joe Burrow MVP, Jamar Chase Offensive Player of the Year, all the most bet at their various positions there on the market. So a lot of people backing the Bengals this year.
Yeah. It's two things for me. One, obviously, if Joe stays healthy, but Joe Flacco reported for OTAs yesterday, did he not?
That's right.
Joe Flacco working out and signed a $6 million deal, and they did that because they think he could win games for them if needed and if called upon. And I think that's a very, very underrated element here to this Bengals team, to this Bengals offseason, because of all the other moves, is they have a real backup quarterback, not just a placeholder, but a real guy that should be able to hold down the fort if something happens to Joe Burrow. And obviously, if nothing happens to Joe Burrow, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Their offense should be one of the best in the league. And the defense, to Schefter's point, should be in a position to close games like they were in 2024, except this time actually close them. And they haven't done that over the past few seasons.
And I think the biggest thing now, and why all of the conversation is they should be contenders. The Bengals should be winning a Super Bowl. The Bengals should take a big step this year, is because there's so many changes on the defensive side of the football. All of these new pieces coming in have to mesh together early in the season.
They do. We're going to get to some more Bengals conversation coming your way, including linebacker. Yeah, we'll talk about linebacker later in the show. But up next, the latest on Ellie De La Cruz, a top prospect that's up for the Reds. And what in the world is going on with Chase Burns? We'll dive into all of that next on First Word.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, and this week I'm hanging with my girl Tia Wallace, and we were at Kroger on the ride in Cincinnati, Ohio. On Thursdays, it becomes Club Kroger, and Tia's gonna give me a henna tattoo. She sets up shop here every Thursday and does henna tattoos. And I've gotten a bunch from her before, and so now I just came to Club Kroger to give one tonight.
My business name is The Duchess. I have been doing henna I taught myself in 1999. I got books. I practiced on myself. Nobody wanted it back then. It was like, what is that? They weren't like, do one for me. Fast forward 2013, that's when it became more mainstream.
This is Kroger on the Run and Over the Rhine in Cincinnati. This is actually my Kroger. I live just right around the corner. And on Thursdays, it turns into this Club Kroger. And it gets crazy. Like, it just started. And it just gets wild. God, girl, you're so good at this. There's so many people dancing around me. It is killing me not to be able to dance a little bit. Yeah! Hey, 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 hey. Shoulders, chest, legs. It's Hannah.
Who got me?
He said it's not permanent, but it's going to stick around for like a week, sometimes 10 days. I was really nervous. Yeah.
No, you gotta go right out there. Next time we out there. We out there.
Okay, good. I got my dancing out. I've been like one of the dancers we got here, and I've just been sitting still.
All right. Yep, our first time.
Should I not do the fingers?
Welcome into another Rebound Rundown local update. This time we're going to go up to Oxford, where the Miami Redhawks are going to do their best to replicate a historic season, an undefeated regular season for Miami and head coach Travis Steele, who just got a contract extension into the early 2030s. An awesome job by Travis Steele to get his team into the NCAA tournament this past season. Let's take a look now at what Miami is bringing back and what they've added. Rich Rolfe, Stevie Elam, and Preston Copeland, those are your additions for Miami this season, but you get back Evan Ipsara, who tore his ACL in December, the starting point guard. Real junkyard dog defensive player, Almar Atlason, a huge piece of this past year's team. Luke Skaljak as well, who filled in nicely as the starting point guard when Ipsara went down. Justin Kirby, a huge piece coming back for Miami this season. So if you're Miami, you have retention and you have some complementary pieces out of the portal. I like what they're building in Oxford. Hear about it more on the Rundown.
Open those mics and open your eyes, ears, and wherever you're watching, however you're listening. Thank you so much for making us part of your day here on First Word. Did that confuse you?
It did, because you went eyes, ears, and immediately dropped the third and I didn't know what you were going with there, but you figured it out.
Sometimes you start a sentence and you don't even know where it's going. What's that from? Michael Scott, The Office.
Yeah,
there we go. All right, there you go.
Took me a second.
Took you a second, but it'll keep you on your toes. He's Jacob Tissot. I'm James Rapien. Marisa Contipelli has her feet up. I'm going to put one up. Has her feet up on vacation, but Contipelli's Countdown coming up in 30 minutes. She will join us for a special Jamar edition, which is fun. But if you're wondering, what is this? What are they doing? Well, this is First Word. This is your morning sports show, Cincinnati. Every single weekday, 7 to 11. We're part of the Crown Network, as you can see there. And whether it's Spectrum, Alta Fiber, over the air, on the Rock, on YouTube. You can listen live on Mixler. Catch us anywhere you get your podcasts. We are excited to be here for you every single morning, and it's not just us. No, the Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, noon to 1 every single weekday live. Plus, you got the Nat Jones Show and Rebound Rundown on the Crown.
Look at that lineup.
Every time. Rebound Rundown on the Crown.
I'm gonna say it again.
Do it.
Put that in your rundown and rebound it.
There we go. There we go. Oh, my goodness.
It's my favorite thing.
It is. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know what else I think is going to be pretty good? The Edwin Arroyo experience.
Hope so.
We're going to get to Edwin Arroyo coming up in just a second. We're going to hear from Terry Francona on Arroyo. But before we do that, let's talk about Elly De La Cruz. He's on the 10-day injured list. Talked about it a ton in our debut show yesterday. Look, if Elly's going to miss time, 10-day injured list, you're like, oh, okay,
yes.
That's pretty good. And then you hear Terry Francona, and you're hearing 2 weeks to a month. And let's just put this in Bengals offseason standard. We're getting all the way into the summer and thinking about training camp by the time Elly comes back, if it's 30 days from now.
Yeah.
Long past mini camp, long past OTAs. And I get it, I'm combining football and baseball, but my point is that's how long it would be if he's out a month. Like, a lot of things are going to change. We're going to be talking about July 4th, and training camp's just a few weeks away. Big difference. 10-day IL and then 14 days to 28 days. Where are you at in your concern level for Ellie and when he could come back?
Ever growing, by the minute almost.
Ever growing.
I think every single update we've gotten since Ellie pulled up at first base on Sunday has been negative. Now, obviously, at the time, the 10-day IL was viewed as a positive, but there was conversation, even if no one believed it, before he was placed on the IL that he wasn't going to go on the IL. Could potentially only miss a couple games, come back without having to spend any time on the injured list. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Placed on the 10-day IL, and then Francona right before the game bumping that up immediately to 2 to 4 weeks. It just does not feel good to have this timeline continually move up. The one thing that I've held on to with the other Reds major injury so far this year with Hunter Green is that there have been no setbacks. The timeline, though it's not moved up like a lot of people hoped it might, has stayed steady the whole time. It's all worked according to plan, and Green is still on track to return when we originally heard he was going to return. With Ellie, it's only been 2 days, and we've already seen that timeline bumped multiple times. You've mentioned it before. Ellie De La Cruz specifically is the type of player that is the most worrisome to throw back out there with an injury like this. The way he plays sets himself up to really aggravate this another way. He runs fast all the time, trying to stretch singles into doubles into triples. He's jumping as high as any player in the league to try to snag balls at shortstop and everything along those lines. I don't know so much about that, but I appreciate it if you'll throw it out there. But he's doing all the stuff that is worrisome about a strained hamstring, and you just can't risk losing him for any more than a month. But I think the problem at this point is I don't know if the Reds can withstand losing him for a month. So what's the point afterwards?
Yeah, it's really tough. And we threw it in our YouTube chat. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you vote in the poll. No Ellie is huge. And it's huge because, one, you're banking on Edwin Arroyo, who we'll talk about at length, and he's going to be part of the show for the foreseeable future. But you're also banking on Matt McLain, and I'm not sure that was the case Sunday. Yeah. They took him out of the lineup Sunday. He was working on things with hitting coach Chris Valleca, and then Ellie gets hurt, and now things have to change, and things are pivoting, and it looks like he's going to play shortstop and be your shortstop maybe every day, but certainly start every day now. It puts him in a tough position, and that's what's really unfortunate here is Ellie De La Cruz was having the most consistent start to his career, and it felt like he was just going to keep going up and up and up, and was just starting to hit the gas pedal when it came to his speed, really start to push it, really start to affect the game that way, and boom, his hamstring pulls, gets the scan, going to be out for multiple weeks. Here's Terry Francona before yesterday's loss to the Royals on Ellie De La Cruz, and then also on promoting Edwin Arroyo.
About Ellie getting the scan this morning.
Okay, so he got his scan, and it's kind of between a grade 1 and 2. He got a I don't know, it's not a PRP injection, it's for something very similar for soft tissue. He'll be a couple days just getting treatment, and then dependent on how he feels, they'll start letting him do some things. And then the best timeline I can give you is in a couple weeks he'll be re-scanned. That could change depending on how he's doing, but it's probably going to be close to that.
When you get all that information, how do you categorize that as good news, better than expected? What would you say?
Well, you never want to lose him, but I thought he did a good job of pulling up and not tearing that thing, because that would have been not good. And I believe him is, like I've been around him as long as you guys, but I've seen him, how he responds and heals, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's on the quick end. Plus, his just ability to want to, he'll probably be on the quicker end.
I assume you talked to him. Did you get that sense already that he?
Well, he didn't even want to go on the IL, which I respect, but we need to take care of him.
With the options that you have or have in place, why was now the time for Arroyo to come up, and what is the plan for him now?
Well, when you say why, we need an infielder.
Right.
Okay, we have to play 9.
Right.
Okay.
I understand that.
Okay.
But what made this the right time for Edwin Arroyo as opposed to moving McLain and doing something with some of the guys that you have here?
We can't play without an extra infielder, though. We have to. We need to balance it, and he's doing really well.
Right.
I think the timing, like I say, you never want to lose Ellie, but I think the timing is really good as far as Edwin goes.
What have you been told? Obviously, the reports on him.
Talked to PK. I've actually talked to Edwin too. He's played more second probably than anywhere else. That's probably his most comfortable position right now. My guess is you'll see him at short and second, maybe even the third, you know, depending on what's going on. You know, he's done a really good job at AAA. He's played with a lot of energy. He's young. I told him, I said, don't try to be somebody you're not. Just be who you are and try to just, you know, play the game right. That's the best I think you can always tell young guys.
What makes you most excited about him as a guy and as a player in this organization?
Well, I mean, he's a great kid. You know, I think, and I want to be a little careful because I am excited to watch him, but I also don't want to, you know, you fall into that. If he has a good 10 days, he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. If he has bad 10 days, he's a bust. So, you know, I want to kind of refrain from that a little bit. Just let him play and, you know, see how he does. Hopefully he helps us win some games. That's why he's here. I think the experience will be really valuable for him, and the hope is he helps us win.
So, plenty of noteworthy comments there from Terry Francona. By the way, shout out to my guy, Mike Petralia, a.k.a. Trags, for the video there on Terry Francona. Talking, look, Elly De La Cruz, huge storyline. It sucks.
Yeah.
Everything about it sucks. I want to dive into Edwin Arroyo. We're going to hear from him in a second. But it sucks because even when the Reds are bad, it's like, get to watch 44.
Exactly.
He's must see. It's very much like, well, at least Joe Burrow's a quarterback, or at least Jamar Chase is playing wide receiver. It's pretty fun. Same thing with the Reds. The starting pitching struggling. The bullpen's struggling. No one else can hit. Matt McClain has just been awful. Well, at least Ellie's in the lineup today. You never know what he's going to do. And so not having that, regardless of how it affects the wins and losses, just day to day, that stinks. That's not fun. And why are we watching the Reds? Why are we talking about sports? We want to have fun.
Yeah, certainly have seen that response from the fan base. But we heard from J.J. Bleday yesterday after the game on Sunday talking about Elly De La Cruz's injury and how it affected the locker room. And it seemed the same for the players in the locker room. He mentioned how he's the heart and soul of this team, how anyone in the country that thinks of the Cincinnati Reds immediately thinks of Elly De La Cruz and how big of a loss this is. And obviously we can talk about how great he is defensively at shortstop. We can talk about how he's a top 5 MVP candidate and he hits as good as he's ever hit in his career so far this year. But I think the loss for the Reds is so much bigger than that in a team that needs everyone to kind of play outside of their norm. You need players to surprise in order for the Reds to have a good lineup this year. And so far, 2 of those surprises have been Nathaniel Lowe and J.J. Bleday. And when you don't have the mainstays in the lineup, the people that you can rely on every day, it's a lot harder for other guys to come out of their shell and really start to play really good baseball. So this is a Reds lineup that was always going to be struggling this year, even if everyone played really well. There was not going to be 9 guys out there on a daily basis that you had a ton of confidence in being able to get on base. You're going to steal some defense and have some success in other places. And without Elly De La Cruz, you're going to need other people to step up. And just looking at this Reds lineup right now, I don't know how many people I can talk myself into taking a massive step forward, which is an incredibly frustrating place to be in.
It is. It's tough because a lot of people are going to say, all right, well, guys just need to step up. And that's what you say anytime someone gets hurt. Well, it's kind of been there. They've kind of needed that already. Sal Stewart did it in April as we waited on Matt McClain and waited on Matt McClain, and we're still waiting on Matt McClain, and we'll see if he turns things around. But, like, that's it. Some of these guys need to step up. You mentioned J.J. Bleday. He did, and he has. They're still 30 and 29. So the margin for error is less without Elly De La Cruz. The longer he's out, the more that error shrinks. Hopefully, it wasn't an error to bring up Edwin Arroyo. They needed an infielder, no doubt about it. Hopefully, he's here to stay, and he earns his way to not just the big leagues for now, but for the foreseeable future and really forever. And it started last night, will continue. But here's what Edwin Arroyo had to say afterward, going 1 for 4, making a nice diving play at second base. It was smooth, even though the Reds lost 9-2. Here's what Arroyo had to say afterward.
Yeah, it didn't start how I wanted, but it finished how I wanted. So great for the opportunity and excited for the first game.
What was a moment like the first hit, the ball, maybe where the ball's going? Have you thought about any of that?
No, I was just listening to the fans, and it was great. It was great. I was really excited after that. So hopefully, let's keep it going.
Were you able to soak in that moment, listening to the fans?
It was really exciting. It got me a little of thought of WBC in Puerto Rico, really loud. A lot of people, cheering. So really excited, and hopefully they keep coming and keep cheering for the team.
What moment had you your sister, I think, cheering up in the crowd as well. How special it is to have your family here and to have her watching you.
Great. She was the only one here today from the family. I'm glad she could make it on time. The rest will come tomorrow, but I'm happy and glad she could enjoy it.
I don't know if you noticed, she couldn't sit down the entire game. She was that nervous for you. You haven't seen that yet?
She gets really excited. People that talk around, she gets a little distracted, but I'm glad she had fun.
What had you more hyped up, the sliding play or the hit?
Both. The first play, it was the first play. It was the first hit. It's a little different of excitement, but both were really exciting.
I mean, you haven't played a ton of second base in the minor leagues. To come up here and prove you can play that spot, how important is that for you carving out a role?
Good. I played the last couple weeks. I was playing a little more second, so I could feel comfortable. Tito asked me if I was feeling comfortable there. I said yes. So wherever they put me, I'm gonna, try and feel as comfortable as there. So
if you would have asked you if you would catch, if you're comfortable playing catcher, you would probably have said the same
I'll probably go do and catch and block everything and be ready to go.
There's the old saying, the joke, the ball always finds you. Were you not surprised that the first ball put in play went right to you?
Yeah, it's something always is gonna happen the first game. It happened, now we pass the page and be ready for the second game.
The Reds banking on Edwin Arroyo to make more plays like this. I love that one. It's so smooth, made it look effortless, and certainly something he can build on there. He can also build on the hit in the ninth. Look, in garbage time, MLB debut, get a hit after 3 strikeouts. It's just something to build your confidence. His sister looking on there. It's something to build his confidence going into today, where he'll obviously be in the lineup.
Absolutely, and I think that's the biggest thing that this opportunity, if you will, of Ellie going on the IL provides here is an everyday chance for Edwin Arroyo. You're not calling him up and playing chess to figure out how to get him in the lineup. You're going to have a week or so here where you can play him every day and really not think about it and see what you have in the young prospect, because the best case scenario for the Reds is that Matt McLain starts playing a pretty decent shortstop and Arroyo looks great at second and Ellie gets back. We have a problem with where to play all of these emerging young bats that are great. Now, I'm not too confident we're going to get there, but at least that's the hope right now.
Yeah, it would be great. It would be a great problem to have. I'll tell you what, a great problem to have is Contipelli's Countdown. That coming up in 20 minutes here on First Word. Up next, you won't believe what an NFL head coach said about former University of Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby. We'll get to that next right here on First Word.
My name is Natalie Jones, just your typical 40-year-old Cincinnati girl. Although, no, I'm not married or divorced. I don't have any kids, and I don't live in the neighborhood I grew up in, which is the West Side, by the way. But what I do have is a lot of freaking time, and I've been using it well. So come along with me on this ground adventure, because I've been trying all the new around town that you need to know about. This is Nat Tries That.
My name is James Rapien, and I host First Word every weekday morning, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Prior to joining The Crown Network, I covered the Bengals for Sports Illustrated for 6 seasons. I also am the founder of Cincinnati Bengals Talk on YouTube and wrote the book, Enter the Jungle, A History of the Cincinnati Bengals. Couldn't be more excited to join you every weekday morning for First Word right here on The Crown.
It's time for another Tissot's Take here on First Word. The Reds can't compete at the top of the free agent market in the offseason, but where they can find success and did this year was in the bargain bin. Adding J.J. Bleday, a cast-off former top 5 pick who had never reached that potential so far in his MLB career, and Nathaniel Lowe, a 30-plus-year-old first baseman who's been on the downturn the last couple of years. Lowe, a former Gold Glove winner in 2023 with the World Series champion Texas Rangers, and Blade, a former Golden Spikes winner, the college baseball Heisman at Vanderbilt in his college years. Both hadn't played their best baseball over the last few years, but are so far this year with the Reds. Lowe is giving a solid option at first base opposite Sal Stewart, while also destroying right-handed pitching in the batter's box. One of the Reds' best bats against right-handed pitchers so far this year. And Blade, what a surprise he has been in the outfield. One of the best outfielders in baseball. Thanks for watching First Word. We'll be with you till 11.
I'm James Rapien, and this is your First Word Bengals Minute. It's no secret that my expectations for Joe Burrow are high. Well, part of that is because my expectations for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins just as high. This is the best wide receiver duo in the NFL right now. And don't look now, but they easily could go down as the best duo in Bengals history. And I think about what their stats could look like this year. Is 3,000 combined receiving yards out of the question? It shouldn't be. I think that's a realistic number. I think 30 touchdowns combined is also a realistic number. And that's the beauty of having Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins. You're going to be feared. Oh, and with the new and improved defense, the Bengals should have the ball more. They should be able to take shots downfield more, which should lead to more opportunities for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to continue to be the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. For more, make sure you check out First Word every weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Open those mics and let's keep it rolling here on First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Jacob Tissot, Marisa Contipelli, and Contipelli's Countdown coming up in 14 minutes here on First Word. What you got for me?
What you got for me?
What you got for me? Man, he's giving me funny looks. What do you got? What do you got? You got something?
Work a little college football into this show.
Yeah, let's work a little college football into this show. Or is it professional football? Or is it no football? I think that's what's interesting. That's the question. And the answer, well, it's coming at some point over the next few months. Brendan Sorsby, well, he's been in the news, obviously. He's not going to play for Texas Tech again, regardless of it. His college career is done, and that is not official. He was denied eligibility. He's hopeful to find his way back to college football with his lawsuit and everything like that. I don't think either of us expect that to happen, just to be clear. We haven't talked about this.
I would be absolutely shocked, and I would say it would be the worst decision the NCAA has ever made. This is worse than eligibility for older players. This is worse than restarting the clock for the Charles Bediacos of the world trying to play college basketball and anything along those lines. This is so much worse. Any legitimate
it's worse than
sports
Rodney
league,
being like, "Hey, I'm coming out to eligibility-wise. I'm gonna go play hoops."
It would be the worst decision the NCAA could make. Any legitimate sports league in the world, you're banned when you gamble on your own team. It's it. That's it. There's no questions to be asked about it. You're done.
Yep.
If the NCAA wants to be taken seriously in the world of gambling and how big it's gotten with the ads and all that stuff, and that's a different conversation with how much that's permeated sports and everything along those lines, they need to take a stand against Brendan Sorsby. This shouldn't even get to the point of an appeal. It should be shut down and done. He's done.
Yeah. I agree, and I think that's what's going to happen. And it's not just me that thinks it's going to happen. And I think that this is where it gets really interesting, is what Todd Monken, the Browns head coach, had to say. No secret, for Jacob's entire life and most of my life, the Browns haven't had a quarterback. And so they need to find a quarterback. Naturally, people are going to point to Brendan Sorsby, especially now that
the Browns. It's like, Shador, probably not. Deshaun Watson, probably not. Who's it going to be? Is it Brendan Sorsby? Short answer, no. Interesting thoughts, though, from Todd Monken, the Browns head coach, on where Sorsby's NFL status could be if he did enter the supplemental draft.
Not at all. I mean, it's not even come across my desk. I don't think we're in a position to want to go down that road. That's my opinion. That's not Andrew's. And that I like the quarterbacks that we have. I think that's a slippery slope when you go down that, irrespective of talent, right? In terms of the situation he's put himself in. And we all know what that is. He put himself in that situation. And we've seen in other sports with players that have been banned for life from playing in professional sports. I think that's a slippery slope to go down that road. Again, that's a question for Andrew and for management. But from my end of it, kind of a tough angle to go down that road and think that that's going to be your franchise quarterback if he's ever eligible to even play in the NFL.
Gotcha. Thank you. It's a really good conversation. One, the Browns need a quarterback. And so for the head coach to come out and say that, here's what he's saying. Brendan Sorsby is not good enough for me to put up with whatever distraction that's going to come with Brendan Sorsby. That's what it is. And you talk about an old school coach like Todd Monken who's been around the block. Betting on games, he's not of the FanDuel era or the DraftKings era.
Yeah, no.
He's not getting his part. Maybe he is. I'd be surprised. I doubt he is. And so, and obviously being a coach, he can't anyway. But you get my point. It's
Yes.
It's an era-based thing, and he looks at that and he says, he's not that special. And we watched him at the University of Cincinnati, and I thought Sorsby was very, very good. He is not that special. No. There's a reason why he stayed in college versus going pro, because he was not a bona fide first, second, third overall pick. If you do that and you're that, fine. Well, he didn't, and he looks like he blew $5 million that he was going to get from Texas Tech this year in NIL money. And I think that's where the conversation is. He's trying to find every which way, any which way to make sure that he can get that NIL money.
Yes.
And it's not going to happen. His appeal will get denied. That lawsuit's going to get thrown out. So when that happens and he enters the supplemental draft, and this is where I think the conversation should be, what team is going to say, you know what, it is worth the risk, worth the roll of the dice? Because there aren't many. And the teams that need quarterbacks, their head coach is going to say, he's not much better than Shador Sanders, or he's not much better than Deshaun Watson, or we're going to just wait to get our quarterback next year. And I think that's what's tough, is finding where Sorsby goes. Do you think, one, do you expect him to go into the supplemental draft? And two, where do you think he'll go?
I do expect him to go in the supplemental draft because I don't think there's another option for him. Yeah. He wants to make money. He wants to play football. He's not going to do either of those things in college. So he needs to take a swing at the NFL. And I think the question comes in, how many coaches agree with Todd Monken here, that it's not worth the risk? And what is the risk that they would be willing to take? What is the draft pick they'd be willing to trade? I would be shocked if it was anything early, anything before a fourth or a fifth, probably. I don't see a team using a first, second, or third round pick in a supplemental draft on a quarterback that gambled on his own team. I also think this is a bigger conversation of whether or not the NFL is going to let him play in the NFL. I think that's going to come up at some point with this. This isn't a gambling story as much as it's he gambled on the team he was on. That changes it drastically. And he didn't just gamble on Indiana. Since he got to Texas Tech, he has been sending money out of the state of Texas to people with shared gambling accounts to place bets on sports for him. So this has not stopped in the last few months. This has not been something he made a mistake as a freshman in college and has learned from it and grown and moved on. This is a continued problem that he's had throughout his college career. And once it reaches that point, it's not something I'm willing to work on here. And the thing in his lawsuit and with Texas Tech that they keep going back to is that this, if you kick Brendan Sorsby out of NCAA football, if you remove his eligibility, it'll decrease the number of people that are struggling with gambling and things like this, asking for help. Now, the NCAA came out yesterday and said that the public assessment of these fines and everything against Texas Tech came out 2 weeks before Sorsby entered gambling rehab. He did not search out this on his own.
Sure.
He didn't try to get better. He didn't notice he had a problem and try to get in front of it. He got caught, and he tried to cover it up and make his money.
Well, that's how it felt, and then that's how it got broken. And then little morsels come out more and more and more. And now the conversation is who takes the risk.
Yes.
Who takes the risk? Who's willing to do it? Does the NFL allow him to enter the supplemental draft. And here's the other thing, they don't have to ban him, but they could have a quick call. Hey, Brendan Sorsby grows on trees because there's a lot of Brendan Sorsbys in the 2027 draft. Don't take him. We don't want him in our league. And that doesn't have to be a loud call, but I wouldn't rule it out because he isn't that talented to where it's like worth the risk, worth the gamble, worth the, pun intended. But seriously, worth the headache. That's a better way to do it. Worth the headache that comes with it because now you have to answer all these questions. Can you imagine? If I'm Todd Monken, people, the moment he took the Browns job, people in Cleveland wanted him fired and said one and done. And that's still going to be the conversation this year. He doesn't want to deal with Brendan Sorsby coming to town and everything that comes with that. So I do wonder, the one team that I thought, as I'm thinking through this, that I thought would have made sense had they not drafted him, would have been the Rams.
Wow.
Because they have their guy, they have Ty, and they took him in the first round. But if they hadn't done that, they could have been like, we're the Rams, we have the infrastructure, we'll bring you in, you're going to be a backup, we're going to hide you, we got you for a 5th round steal, we had a 2nd round grade on you. It's going to be a team like that can just bury him on the depth chart, hide him, if they do believe in his ability. Otherwise, I know there was talk 3 weeks ago when this came out, like 2nd round supplement. There's no chance a team is using a 2nd round supplemental pick on Brendan Sorsby. Not with the 2027 draft that's supposed to be really deep. I really wonder where he goes. Don't be shocked if it's late.
Yeah, I
or
think
at all.
That's the question that I would have at this point, because if this happened earlier, maybe it was in question of whether or not he would be in a supplemental draft later, and it would change how the offseason rolled out. Maybe you see a team like the Steelers, who drafted Drew Aller late in the draft, not take a quarterback there, try to go the Sorsby route. And then, all those quarterbacks that went late, the Chiefs took Garrett Nussmeier late in the draft, Mahomes coming back from the torn ACL. That's the landing spots for Brendan Sorsby in my mind. I completely agree with you, James, and I just don't know that there's many of those left. I don't know how many teams in a rebuilding nature want to bring Brendan Sorsby into their locker room to be the quarterback of their team. So I think it eliminates about the bottom half of the league anyway, which is usually the quarterback-needy team. So now you're talking about trading a comp pick for a backup quarterback, and I don't think anyone will be interested in doing that. Whether it's an official ban or anything like that, which is probably unlikely, or an under-the-table phone call, I don't think Brendan Sorsby plays in the NFL.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked. And I would have been shocked like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But the sending the money now, after agreeing, like once you agree to the $5 million NIL deal at Texas Tech and it's gone under the radar and like this is it for you, like that's far more money than Desmond Ridder made in the NFL. Just get through this year.
10 months. 10 months of not gambling.
Yep. I mean, honestly, yeah, even less. I mean, just get to the season, and then then it's a whole nother thing. So, wild, wild, wild. What isn't wild is Marisa Contipelli going on vacation during launch week.
That's not wild?
I'm trying to be nice to her. It is kind of wild, but it was just a happenstance. The good news is, you're going to hear from Marisa next. It's Contipelli's Countdown, right here on First Word.
I'm James Rapien, and this is your First Word Bengals Minute. It's no secret that Dexter Lawrence is going to have a major impact on the Bengals defense. Anytime you add a gigantic nose tackle that can get after the passer, guess what? Those are hard to find. Those are rare. He's also going to make life easier on Jonathan Allen, who was a key free agent addition in March. And that's what's interesting. Jonathan Allen is a former Pro Bowler. He was a former first-round pick. He's someone that still can bring the juice and put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. And the idea of him alongside B.J. Hill was one thing. The idea of him one-on-one, because Dexter Lawrence is clogging up the interior and commanding double teams, well, that's a whole nother thing. That changes this Bengals defense, and it gives Jonathan Allen a chance to get back to where he was a few years ago when he was wrecking quarterbacks, racking up sacks, and one of the best interior defenders in the game. For more, make sure you check us out First Word every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown.
Cincinnati sports fans are the best. Loyal, passionate, second to none. This city lives and breathes sports, and now it finally has a morning show to match. I'm James Rapien, and this is First Word.
the only morning sports show in Cincinnati and the place where every day starts. We break down the biggest moments and set the agenda for the city. Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot join me to bring the insight and energy you need to start your day. The conversation starts with First Word. First Word, weekdays 7 to 11, part of the Crown Network.
Welcome back to another Tissot's Take, and the Reds might just have the best starting rotation in all of Major League Baseball when everyone gets healthy. Chase Burns, so far in his first full season with the big league club, is pitching like an ace, a legitimate Cy Young contender early in his young career, and Hunter Green just waiting in the wings on the IL to be activated at some point this summer. The Reds might join a short list of Major League Baseball teams with multiple aces in the rotation when Green gets back to form. We know he's a perennial Cy Young contender in the National League, and Chase Burns looks like it too. Not even mentioning James Rapien's boy, the number 3 starter in this rotation, All-Star Abbott. An All-Star last year has put together a phenomenal month of May, one of the best pitchers in baseball in the month of May, and that continues throughout the summer. This Reds top 3 is as good as any in baseball. Nick Lodolo sliding in at the 4, Rhett Lauder, the former 7th overall pick, at the 5, not even mentioning Singer Williamson and Petty. You're watching First Word on the Crown Network.
I'm Paul Fritchner. I'm a 2019 graduate of Xavier University, and I've been covering college basketball for 10 years here in the Cincinnati area. I'm the host of the Rebound Rundown, a daily college basketball podcast during the season and a weekly show in the off-season covering everything you need to know about your favorite team. And if you're not a fan of a team here in Cincinnati, I have you covered from the national perspective as well. Follow it on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Launch week, don't blink. But welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on the Crown. And that's 7 to 11. It means we're always open. What?
You said don't blink, so I just started blinking a lot, and
did
it made
you?
my eyes water.
Didn't notice at all. Didn't even feel you. Didn't even know. Yeah, don't blink.
It made my eye water.
You killed my 7 to 11 always open thing.
But we're 7 to 11 always open.
Always open, like Jamar. I wonder if Jamar is coming up here on the countdown. It is time for Contipelli's Countdown.
Don't blink because you might miss Jamar on the countdown right here. But of course, Jamar is always open. So for today's countdown, we are taking the approach of not the top 5 catches by Jamar Chase, but the top 5 plays. And we're going to kick it off with the 49ers scramble drill by Burrow, finding Jamar Chase there in the back of the end zone. I mean, that Joe to Jamar Chase connection was so relevant his rookie season back in 2021.
This was so this play is when they became the best duo in the NFL. And they've been the best duo in the NFL ever since. This was one, they had outplayed the whole game, and Joe and Jamar said, we're going to try to not only make this a game, but give the Bengals a chance to win it. And my goodness, did they almost do it here. What a play, what a throw by Joe, what a read, and a heck of an adjustment in the footwork by Jamar.
Yeah, and the communication doesn't even really make sense to me, how they know exactly what the other wants and where to go on the field and where the holes in the zone will be. Jamar Chase evades 5 or 6 Niners defenders working around the back of the end zone. It's an unbelievable play, and I think this was kind of the, not first, but one of the big things where it was like, well, can this be one of the best duos of all time? And they've turned into something pretty close.
Yeah, they have. And the toe body control to get he got like 5 feet down.
That's the most impressive part to me is just that footwork, like the tightrope right here when he's back in the end zone. I mean,
I
just
thought that foot was out. 2, 3, 4, 4 down.
Something special. But no, this was really, this game and this moment was kind of what, really put it on the map for me of like, oh, these guys aren't just in sync. They have a chemistry unlike anyone else that I've seen.
And it was a loss. They lose this game. And we're like, how good are they really? And Joe and Jamar turns out really, really good.
Well, a game that they did win just a few weeks later in week 17 of 2021 is this one right here against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Jamar's so slow.
Oh, I mean, I love the shot of there being like 5 Chief defenders right behind him, unable to catch up to him. But I mean, Jamar in this game, 3 touchdowns, 266 yards, just put on an incredible performance. But that, hands down, my favorite touchdown of the night.
I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah.
How do you score on a play like that? I remember watching this one live, and I thought he was tackled 3 different times, and I'm just not familiar with what Jamar Chase is yet. Because if I saw this play this year, it would have been a touchdown the whole time in my mind. The speed is insane. The breakaway is ridiculous, and not the only time in his career he did something like this, which just goes to show you how special he is.
In the moment, it matters a ton. They're down 14-0. AFC North on the line. They're this upstart Bengals team. Are they good? Are they not? Are they really going to win the division after winning 4 games the year prior and Burrow coming off the ACL? And Jamar Chase said, hey, Kansas City, get a new secondary. And they did. They had to get a new secondary, including Brian Cook and Trent McDuffie and all the guys that they got. And it's because Jamar Chase, track star wide receiver, this is one of the best plays of Jamar Chase's career.
I think it was this game that really kind of put the NFL world on notice that like Jamar not only has the opportunity and potential to be one of the best, but this kind of really solidified it for everyone. The fact that he put up over 260 yards and had 3 touchdowns against the team to beat in the NFL.
Absolutely, and I think that's certainly a big part of it. Those numbers against anybody certainly will be respected and talked about a lot, but when you do it against the Chiefs, when you're the team that's not supposed to be there, that's when everyone really starts to take notice.
Well, we have to do one more play from Jamar's rookie season, so why not his very first moment as a Bengal? Game 1 of his rookie campaign in 2021, and we got to see Burrow air it out to Jamar Chase, and then him hitting the gritty in the end zone. This was just such a special moment to be a part of, and just the start of something really special in Cincinnati.
It was huge. Joe Burrow started 11 of 13, his first game back from the ACL, the touchdown there after the game in one of their lone week 1 wins in this Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor era. He says, I thought Jamar was dropping everything before answering any questions. And so putting away that narrative, but honestly, when I was in the press box, I was thinking, I knew I was right about Jamar Chase. I knew he was better than Penei Sewell. I knew he should have been the 5th pick. I told you. And obviously, multiple touchdowns followed that throughout the year. But heck of a play, heck of a moment that was foreshadowing a lot of what was to come as Jamar Chase, and for Jamar Chase as a rookie.
As soon as that card was turned in at pick 5 in the draft, I think everyone in Cincinnati was just kind of hoping, okay, the LSU connection is just moving on up here. And didn't have to wait long. It's the first half of week 1. They take the deep shot, and Jamar Chase slides right into the wide receiver run, 1 roll here in Cincinnati, and hasn't looked back since. I said the last one was almost like the introduction, because this was the introduction. The first game, first half, and they take the top off.
That's one of those plays where it just lives rent-free in my brain. But this next one, guys, I struggled putting this on here. It is absolutely one of his best games individually as a Bengal, with, of course, going for over 260 yards against the Ravens. And this touchdown with 38 seconds left in the game to bring it to a 1-point game. It was just a tough outcome with them then. They're not getting the 2-point conversion, but just another phenomenal performance by Jamar Chase, with this being his 3rd touchdown of the night.
This was one of the best throws of Joe Burrow's career. He threads it between there are 3 different Ravens that could have disrupted this ball. You could argue that it should have been picked, didn't happen, and just the desire and willingness to throw it and then to get it where it needs to be. Jamar makes the play, and this is another one, like the Kansas City one. Jamar willed the Bengals back in this game. Baltimore had all the momentum early in the 4th quarter, and it's 21-14. Or 28-21, excuse me. and Jamar says, "Oh, I'm going to go deep." And he scored a touchdown before that. Obviously, the Ravens went down and scored, and the Bengals answer with another touchdown to Jamar. They should have won this game. It's rough that a couple of these have been in losses. Obviously, this is one of them.
Yeah, I completely agree. One of the best throws of Burrow's career. When you get down in a gotta-have-it space like that so late in the game, down a touchdown, where else do you go? You got to go to Jamar, and that's why he's confident to make those throws, because of the first 3 plays in this countdown we saw. This is what Jamar Chase does in the big-time moments.
What I love so far, too, about this countdown is we've seen, clutch moments like this from Jamar. We've seen him, outrun defenders. We've seen him catch the long ball. He's just such a threat, and it's just been so fun to watch. And the next one on the countdown that we have to end with on number 1, we're going back to the game against the Chiefs. Well, not back to that game against the Chiefs, but against the Chiefs here in the AFC Championship. And no, it is not a touchdown, but rather a critical key 4th down conversion where Jamar just goes up over to Chiefs their defenders, comes away with a huge conversion. I mean, this was a momentum swing in that game.
Jamar down there somewhere.
Yes, that was the logic. Watson and Cook in coverage. Obviously, Brian Cook, a rookie at the time. Now he's on the Bengals, became a really good player. But, I mean, how do you, if you're Joe, it's 4th down. If you don't get this, Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to take a 2-score lead. You know that. I love going for it by Zach, but that is the lowest percentage possible of a play that you can go with. And it worked. This was part of the special. When we talk about going back and getting back to 21 and 22, these are the special plays and moments that we saw. And the one thing that's really alarming to me, guys, is are 3 of the 5 of these Jamar plays and losses?
They sure are.
I know.
Pain. That needs to change this year because they're too darn good at football for these plays to be coming in losses for the Bengals.
Yeah, obviously the catch is insane through 2 Chiefs defenders, but just the fact to be running full speed down the sideline, put your foot in the ground, stop, change direction, basically without going downfield at all, and jump up and make that play above Brian Cook's helmet is just absolutely ridiculous. Again, for I think the 5th time today, Jamar Chase doing something I'm not sure anyone else can do.
No, he's truly one of one. And again, to the point of, he's just so versatile, and it's just different ways he's impacting this game, and just the chemistry with Burrow is just absolutely insane to see at times, and it makes me excited for this season of what other plays we're going to be adding and maybe swapping out with some of these 5.
I think the thing about Jamar Chase, and we saw it through these 5 plays that just blows me away, is we have plays in the slot, plays on the outside, plays against corners, plays against safeties, 1st downs, 4th downs, deep balls, red zone. He does it all at an elite level. There's no shortcomings.
And the Jamar that we saw on that last clip isn't as good as the Jamar that the Bengals have today.
It's wild. A lot in store for Jamar Chase and his future here in Cincinnati, and a lot in store for us too here on First Word, because we have plenty of more to get to on the show today. We are with you all the way until 11 o'clock here on The Crown.
Down the field, and look at the catch! Leaping into the air and coming down with it in double coverage is Jamar Chase on 4th and 6 for 35 yards.
This is 4th down. You got to throw it up, but it's perfect because it's the right kind. Watch this. They're going to come out and double. You're doubling Chase. They give it an in and up, like a dig, and then a go, and right there, that was set up in the timeout. Those are some stones right there to come out and do that, but they did throw to their best player.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, and I'm the May Queen here at Broxton's May Fest. This is the 3rd year in a row I've been the May Queen, and actually the 3rd year since they brought it back after maybe a decade hiatus. What Mayfest is pretty much the Oktoberfest of the springtime, to put it in layman's terms. So Mayfest opens the summer season, and Oktoberfest ends the summer season. So here we are, just Bavarian stuff all day long. I already had a beer and a pretzel. I'm about to get a sausage. So I started making flower crowns, I think like 10 years ago for fun, maybe for the Kentucky Derby, and now I make them all the time. I made this one. Me and my bestie made it. I change it every year. I expand on it or change it every year, the colors. What colors do you think I should put on my baton here I'm gonna make? Excellent. I was thinking the same exact thing. When do you feel the most beautiful? Tomorrow. Huh? Tomorrow? Did you yesterday? No? Well, I think you're gorgeous. Even without the crown. You're always beautiful in my eyes. A raspberry cake?
I kind of liked it.
Kinda. Did your dad like it?
He didn't eat any.
You didn't eat any of it?
Because I gave
No
him
carbs,
a
huh? He's in a low-carb diet. What I like to do is take the flour like this and wrap it around the main vine, okay? There you go. You're welcome. I'm not gonna lie, as someone who got a D in art class when I was a kid, turned out all right. High five, girlfriend. It matches all the colors in your dress. Hopefully we do this every year at Mayfest because you can never queen enough, I tell you what. All righty, everybody say queen. All right, girls, are we ready for this? Yeah. All right, let's go.
Another Rebound Rundown local update and a huge one here for the Louisville Cardinals, who have spent a ton of money in the transfer portal. They have poured a ton of resources, and this is expected to be a national championship contender, or at least a Final Four contender. It better be with what they have done to assemble this roster. Let's take a look at it now. A coup of players out of the portal. Two of the portal's best in Flory Badunga, the transfer from Kansas, and Jackson Shellstead, the point guard transfer from Oregon. You add that, somebody you've heard on the rundown before, Deshane Montgomery from Dayton, Alvaro Figueres, a high major transfer as well, Carter Knox, Gabe Dines, all names that if you are a college basketball fan, you are familiar with, plus Okeze, who is one of the best high school players, if not the best, depending on where you look, for high school rankings, best high school recruits in the history of the Louisville program. A lot to be excited about, a lot of expectations for the Louisville Cardinals. You can hear about that more right here on the Rebound Rundown.
You learn something new every day, and here on First Word, well, I'm James Rapien, and Jacob Tissot is the worst. He said it, I didn't. The mics weren't hot, so I'm just going to add it now and make sure everybody watching, which thank you so much for watching, right here on First Word. We are Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Where can you watch? Well, everywhere. From live streaming on YouTube to Mixlr if you want an audio-only edition as you make your way to work or go throughout your morning commute. Also live on the Rock Spectrum, Ultifiber, over the air. You can catch us in podcast form as well. And whether it's us here on First Word, the Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, live every weekday, noon to 1 here on The Crown, the Nat Jones Show, our Rebound Rundown on The Crown, we have you covered. And we have you covered with a poll question every day as well. What do you got?
No, ready for the poll?
Nothing. Okay, nothing.
I like this poll a lot.
The worst. Just proof of that right there. If you were watching, let's dive into the poll question of the day. And it has to do with Elly De La Cruz. And were you more bummed about Elly De La Cruz going on the 10-day injured list, or excited to see Edwin Arroyo get his opportunity in the big leagues? As close as a poll can get, or nearly that. 50.5% of you say excited for Arroyo, who went 1 for 4 in his debut, had a nice play at second as well. 49.5% say bummed for Elly.
Yeah, I think this is about right. This is almost exactly the split I was at. I stared at this poll for longer than I've stared at our polls to decide which one to vote on, because obviously there's a huge conversation about whether or not the Reds can survive without Ellie in the lineup, but also I've been asking for Edwin Arroyo for weeks now, so obviously there's some excitement there as well. I think it's great to obviously be able to see Edwin Arroyo on a daily basis now with Ellie out of the lineup, and then hopefully when Ellie gets back, Edwin has proved that he belongs in the big league club, and then there's an issue of where do you play all these guys. But certainly after last night, it looks like there's a little bit of ways to go until he's more comfortable at the plate.
Yeah, you got to find a way to get him comfortable at the plate. You need him. You got to have him because let's be honest here, with Ellie out, Matt McLain, you're banking on him. It looks like Matt McLain is going to play shortstop regularly, and he's hitting under 200 still. What are we doing, Matt McLain? So this is his time. As much as it's Edwin Arroyo's time, it is Matt McLain's time and his chance to prove it. Let's take a look at some of your responses here to the poll question. And starting with Dat Dude JH, which I love. A bum for Ellie and excited for Arroyo. Thanks, Dat Dude. You didn't answer the question. I appreciate it. Obviously, everybody's bummed for Ellie and excited for Arroyo. The fun is picking one. Vienna Jeff, shout out to Jeff. I know he's a loyal viewer and supporter of the show. Now, Tito is forced to give him days off finally. Brutal. I hate it.
And is the silver lining.
I do wish that he had gotten a couple of days off. I don't think that has anything to do with the injury, but just in general, giving Ellie, resting that Ferrari once in a while, not a bad thing. Take the Civic a few times. No offense, but just take the Civic. I think, or at least hope, this ends up in being a blessing in disguise. Arroyo comes up, balls out when it's time for Ellie to return. Instead of Arroyo going back down, McLain gets sent instead. Do you agree with John Barker?
Certainly a realistic option. I think McLain has to play. And if he can't prove that he belongs in the Reds lineup, he should not be sitting on the Reds bench. He should be getting at bats in AAA to try to get better. Matt McLain still has the ceiling of an everyday player on this Reds team, and that ceiling is higher than most players in the Reds organization still after the last couple years of playing poorly. I think the mistake the Reds could make would be giving up on Matt McLain, and to me, that's moving him to a bench bat role. If you think he can be the second baseman of this team at any point in time in his career, then you send him down and he plays every day to continue to try to get better. It's the only way to get better is to continue working at it. He needs to play if he's going to improve, and maybe the best place to do that is AAA. But he's going to have time now in the lineup more than he would have been if Ellie was healthy. Certainly was falling out of that rotation over the last couple weeks, but he's going to have a chance to put his best foot forward. Now, the nightmare scenario, and I hate to bring it up, but what if we get to the time that Ellie's ready to be activated and Edwin Arroyo hasn't looked great, and now we don't have the lifeline in AAA for a struggling Matt McLain that we've been circling for the last 4 weeks. It changes the outlook of this Reds team pretty drastically.
It does, and one of Arroyo or McLain, and ideally both, will step up. The benefit of both, then you can say, Ellie, relax.
Yes.
To John's point, relax. Take your time. Let's get you to 100% because you are a Ferrari and you are about to press go on the gas pedal and start wreaking havoc all over the base paths, and then you pulled that hamstring. We will certainly see and dive into the Reds coming up in a bit when it comes to Game 2 of this series, because I was expecting them to sweep the Royals. Well, they're not going to do that. We'll dive into Game 2 coming up in a bit, but up next, the Bengals have a major weakness. Yeah. Is that overstated? We'll hear from Paul Dehner Jr. next, right here on First Word.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, and today we're at the Acres here in Evendale, Ohio. It actually has been around for 70 years and was just redone in 2022. And I'm going to get a golf lesson from the one and only Brett Perchikoff. Brett, get on in here. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
No.
All right, well, you know what? I'm even worse at golf. I did take a golf lesson once when I was 20 years old. I haven't really golfed since that day. All right, so now we're going to take a look around the Acres and see just exactly where we are. There's so much fun stuff to do here.
It's really cool.
So what's great about the Acres is it's a whole family event. They have 16 bays inside, they're open year-round, and 22 bays outside. And then, you want to look over here, we have family fun putt-putt. I'm even worse at putt-putt, okay? First timer, so what do I need to know?
Okay, so
kind of three pillars I like to call them: posture, just like your stance to the ball, kind of your address, the grip of the club, how you grip it, and then your alignment, your aim.
Posture,
grip, and alignment.
Alignment.
PGA. PGA.
That's what the PGA means?
No, feet kind of shoulder width apart, maybe a little wider.
All right.
You want to bend out the hips a little bit.
Okay.
And just a good athletic stance. Next is the grip. Easiest way for beginners to learn is like that.
Do you do this?
I do that. Feet a little wider. The shoes are going to be tough, but
no, these
there
are stable. Okay, ready?
Good swing. Low shoulder swing.
Swing and a miss.
Got it out there.
Down the first baseline, baby. I really am trying really hard.
There you go.
Look at that!
Dead straight.
You're a great teacher.
Dead straight.
Heck yeah!
Wow.
Jesus. Now, so here's the, want me to, yeah, you know, pretty much an expert here now.
Another rebound rundown update, this time for the Cincinnati Bearcats under first-year head coach Jared Calhoun coming over to Clifton from Utah State. And Jared Calhoun having to put together an entirely new roster this year for Cincinnati. Not a single returning player from last year's Bearcat team. Tylen Riley, the headline piece for this roster, a transfer in from Tulsa, the point guard of this group. Miles Colvin, a transfer from Wake Forest, somebody who has national championship game experience from his time at Purdue in that game against UConn. Tyler Tejada out of the CAA from Towson. Riley Allensbach from George Mason. Travion Carson, Jaden Hastings. Eric Mahaffey, the local product from Moeller. Spent his first year at Akron, now finds his way down to UC, plus 3 players who already have experience in Jared Calhoun's system from Utah State. That is a fantastic balance. You have to have a group that has played for your head coach before. Jared Calhoun has that. Much more coverage of the Bearcats on the Rebound Rundown. Stay tuned.
Welcome to First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show, breaking down the biggest moments and the stories shaping Cincinnati sports with analysis that cuts through. First Word, setting the agenda in Cincinnati sports.
Let's keep it rolling here on a Tuesday edition of First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Jacob Tissot and Marisa Contipelli, and we are your morning sports show, Cincinnati. Every single weekday, 7 to 11, always open. First time today I've dropped that one, always open right here on The Crown. What is The Crown? Well, it's the multimedia network that you have to know about. Catch us every single weekday, of course, here on First Word, 7 to 11. There's where you can watch us. On Spectrum, on Alta Fiber, over the air, on The Rock Entertainment Sports Network. Also live on YouTube, audio only, live on Mixler every morning, wherever you get your podcast. And coming up in 1 hour, the debut on her YouTube channel of Nat Tries That with Natalie Jones. Also a reminder that the Working Lunch with Jack Crumley live every weekday, noon to 1, right here on The Crown. So make us part of your day every morning, and then stick with us throughout the day, whether it's Natalie Jones, whether it's Rebound Rundown, of course, Jack Crumley at noon. We have everything covered right here on The Crown.
I'm excited for the Nat Tries That debut. All the teasers during our breaks getting me excited for it. Can't wait for episode 1 today.
She plays football.
Yes.
with professional football players.
Now, I've seen her come back to the office after filming a lot of this stuff, and the stories are great, so
Yes.
I cannot wait for the video.
I can't wait to see how hard she gets tackled. She's not going to get tackled during the working lunch today. She's on Jack's show.
Even better.
So there you go. Perfect timing for that. Here's what I'll say, though. If she can tackle, maybe she should be a Bengals linebacker.
Okay.
And look at that segue.
Wow.
The Bengals need help at linebacker. Everyone said it. I've said it. You've said it. We all agree. Or do they? Or do they need help at linebacker? Paul Dehner Jr. of The Athletic, of the Growler podcast, joined us yesterday in studio. And his latest article is on the Bengals linebackers, what they've done to help them, and why Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter could end up being the answer.
I like doing this when we can back up from a situation a little bit and look at what is the biggest thing, right? For them, it was we're all criticizing the linebackers every single turn, no matter what they did.
Yeah.
Everything that we're probably going to talk about there. Dexter Lawrence, all the free agency stuff. Then the draft comes, Cassius Howe, and they did. When no linebacker came, it was okay. What's happening here? And what is the path to success? Is this going to bury their season? And so I took a wider league view and just went and looked at the teams they're clearly trying to emulate. Right? Seattle, the Rams, Houston. I mean, these teams build the D-line, have waves. The Eagles, right? As you should, the last two champions. Who were the Seattle Seahawks linebackers? Who were the Los Angeles Rams linebackers? Who were the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles linebackers when they started that season? They were guys with less credentials that you've never heard of. Guys with 42 career snaps who are undrafted free agents. That's Seattle, literally. Nate Landman, the big Nate Landman guy with the Rams. Omar Speights.
Is it Landman, a show that I haven't watched?
That's as close as you get to knowing who the Rams linebackers were on a top 10 defense last year with waves in front of them. The Eagles brought Zach Bond from New Orleans. He'd never even played more than 300 snaps in his career. And next thing you know, he's all pro. Nakobe Dean had 200 plus snaps defensively in his entire career, entering his third year. And then he ends up being a part of that awesome Eagles defense. Everybody's like, gotta have the Eagles defense. Put dudes in front of them, and they can, you don't sign and spend and use high capital necessarily on linebackers. You develop linebackers by putting great players in front of them. And then, you look up and you've produced one. And I think that's a big part of what I saw when I went a little bit further about it.
When we went into free agency, everything was needed. It wasn't just camera 2 here. It was that camera, that camera, that camera. We needed Rodney, we needed Paul, we needed a desk. They needed everything to fix their defense. And I said the one thing that I'd be okay with punting on in free agency and spending big on was linebacker.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one thing, it was that. I would prefer Mafe over Devin Lloyd. Because why? Because what you're saying, you need juice on the pass rush. They haven't had it. They went and got it. I can't complain. It doesn't mean I'm satisfied with linebacker or comfortable, but of Geno Stone playing safety, the linebackers they have in the defensive front, no more Geno Stone, improved defensive front. I get the priority list being what it was.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find ways to do it. I talked to Rand Carthon, who's awesome, by the way, and he's on CBS now. But, I mean, he drafted Fred Warner. He's built teams in San Francisco, and he was the GM in Tennessee for a couple of years.
Did he say Demetrius Knight's the next Warner?
He did not say that. His point was everybody wants a Fred Warner, but the way you build it is the way the Bengals. He was going through how he would sit down every year as the GM and go through his team needs list. He's like, every year I would write down Rams need a backer, and then every year they wouldn't take one. The next thing I know, there they are playing at the end with Omar Speights and these other guys that you've never heard of before. Bozeman, Christian Bozeman, like guys that you've never heard of. And he's like, and you just look at that and you say, yeah, that's, you want to get there? Yeah, you'd love to. If you have an access to Fred Warner, cool. If you can make that happen. But so often now, what we're seeing happening, these teams that are in the Final Four, that are playing in January, deep into January, they're constructed the way the Bengals have kind of constructed that. That said, still a massive risk to run back these two young guys and hope that they do take the next level around them. That's obviously the big bet, and they feel like they've seen progress there, but. we may be looking back at this in mid-October and be like, man, maybe they got that wrong, but the Bengals certainly don't seem to think so.
How much does the caliber of free agents the Bengals added to those other positions change this conversation? Because just adding to safety and defensive line wouldn't be enough, but when you do Brian Cook and Dexter Lawrence, I think it changes the conversation pretty drastically.
Well, put stars and then you don't ask anybody else to be stars. Last year, they were asking Knight and Carter to be stars. They were asking Chris Jenkins and B.J. Hill and T.J. Slayton to be game changers. They're not. They're rotational players.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you put stars in front of them, now you love your rotational players. And you love them in the mix. You love a combination of Slayton and Lawrence. You like having Allen and Hill and then Jenkins behind him, and maybe he can be a young guy that comes into something. They just had to have players that were real and stabilizing. What I've liked, James, and being down there in the building lately, and you're talking to the same people I am, the recognition of sort of the alpha leadership that you're hearing about Brian Cook and Dexter Lawrence specifically has been notable. Everybody's talking about it. Like, man, those guys have come in and they were clearly told, you need to be a leader. And we heard this from Zach Taylor, from Al Golden, from Duke Tobin, way back in February. We need leaders. We need somebody who can come in and hold accountable everybody in the room and be the guy who says, I'm the guy, and everybody look up to them. And they have really owned that in the immediate days. Dexter specifically, I think you're seeing that from as he's been here, every moment since he's been signed.
Good stuff there from Paul Dehner Jr. of the Growler Podcast of The Athletic. That entire interview is on our YouTube channel. All you have to do is look it up. First Word Cincy, and maybe you're watching live on YouTube. Paul Dehner Jr. there. Steve Radicevic there as well. Marisa Contipelli went one-on-one with the Bengals assistant GM. So make sure you check it out. Make sure you check out all of our YouTube channels. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley. Nat tries that in the debut show coming up in a bit. But this Bengals linebacker situation, it is a situation. And I don't think Paul was trying to downplay that. I think he was trying to downplay the importance of linebacker.
Yes.
I think that's very much it.
Yes.
Is when you look at the champions and the Super Bowl champions, he's not saying, Demetrius Knight's a good player now. Barrett Carter's suddenly going to wake up and be Fred Warner. It's, they did the things that all these other defending Super Bowl champion or past Super Bowl champions have done. Beef up the defensive front, get reliability on the back end. And again, coming into this year, like I said to Paul, coming into this offseason, that's what I wanted. I didn't want another year of Geno Stone, who's missed 7 tackles today. Natalie's got to be tackling better than Geno Stone. Like, that
can't be worse.
Can't be worse. So Brian Cook comes in. They beef up the defensive front. I see the vision. Even if they did want to address linebacker, I get why it didn't come to fruition and why they had other priorities.
I think something that obviously linebacker was a huge talking point all throughout the season.
Yes.
Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight, the 2 lowest ranked linebackers throughout the entire season, and every time the graphic would pop up, it was like 83rd and 84th or something along those lines. Crazy, crazy high numbers. So I think if you asked all Bengals fans after that Browns game in Week 18, what's the one thing the Bengals have to add to their defense this year? A defense that was historically bad in NFL standards. Almost every fan would have said linebacker as the first thing. You just need to do it. I think so? Visually, it was the one that jumped out the most.
Really?
Now, I think when you go into it more,
I make fun of Geno Stone for a reason.
That's fair. That's fair. But I do think he's at least a guy that got signed in free agency by another contender. I'm not saying he's good by any means, but Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight, based on last season, are not starters on a contending defense. And I think that's the biggest thing going into this offseason was that the Bengals are going to address that position, and they just didn't. And I think the thing with that is you have to swing big to fix a defense that was as bad as the defense was last year. And that's what we talked about a couple segments ago with Steve Radicevic, is that you have to get the stars, and there weren't stars at linebacker. So fixing the defensive line with Dexter Lawrence and Jonathan Allen, who obviously Allen in the back 9 of his career, but still a very productive player, and then the number 1 free agent safety, who isn't just a marginal increase in tackling over Geno Stone. It's the worst tackling safety in the league to the best tackling safety in the league. Brian Cook is an absolute monster on the back end and continues to be forgotten about. And then the guy who continues to somehow be forgotten about even more than Brian Cook is Boye Mafe, who is one of the most exciting high-ceiling edge rushers in this entire free agent class. So I think the Bengals did a very good job of maximizing the value of their free agent signings and getting players across the defense that can help everything else. Now, the linebacker position, in my opinion, is the position that can be helped by the other people on the field the most. I think if the defensive line is getting consistent pressure and quarterbacks aren't comfortable being able to defend the run with the front the guys on the front, then it takes a lot off the linebackers' plates. If the safety can cover sideline to sideline and your corners can lock down the outsides, then great. The linebackers don't have to worry about as much. With one of the worst safety rooms in the league and inconsistent pressure for the Bengals defense last year, you were asking two linebackers who were already rookies starting for a team that had huge expectations to do a lot more than almost any other young linebacker in the league was asked to do, strictly because of the lack of talent around them. Now, I'm not sitting here saying I think Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter are going to be Pro Bowlers this year, but I do think it's reasonable to expect a reasonable step forward, not just from the experience they got in their rookie year, but because they have so much more talent around them. So if you're not going to add to one of these positions, I'd much rather it be linebacker than D-line or safety.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's still the glaring hole. It would be like the house remodel analogy is the one that the second floor bathroom is really valuable, but if your master's on the first floor, then you just don't go upstairs and you can let that one go. Or the basement bathroom, that one might be better. And that's the linebackers.
Right.
You still don't trust that toilet down there. It's leaky. It may work, it may not, but now if week 2, CJ Stroud, I get it, toilet jokes. If week 2 though, if CJ Stroud is attacking these linebackers, we're going to feel a lot different because you need that bathroom now and it needs to work. But if this defensive front's awesome and it is so disruptive that they can get by with these guys, or they do take a step, both things happen, and they're just solid starting linebackers, well, they'll be fine. Like if you give me solid starters at linebacker, this Bengals defense is going to be really good. I don't know that they're going to be that. Like I think Jordan Battle's going to be a solid starter this year.
Yeah.
He might have some a lot of down moments. Might be a bad tackler at times, but guess what? He has those explosive plays. That's what Geno Stone was known for, and the explosive plays were all given up because he couldn't tackle.
Yeah.
Jordan had those last year, but he also had some multiple interceptions that are in key moments, some forced fumbles, some big plays like that. And you need guys that are going to do one or the other, or just be steady and consistent. And I think Demetrius Knight, if I go really glass half full, he showed the ability to create some splash plays in camp. And then toward the end of the year, you saw that. There were multiple sacks, and he was getting comfortable, and he's making plays. Barrett Carter, the Bengals really believe in Barrett Carter as being like a field general, a leader. And that's part of why Logan Wilson got benched when he did. Because they thought, hey, let's do this now with Carter because it's going to pay off this year. We'll see if that bet does pay off. To your point, would I still like a linebacker? Would I still like someone that you could say, no matter what, this guy can play and raise the floor of that room? I'm not sure how high that ceiling is going to raise with anyone that's out there, but raise the floor? Absolutely, I would. And I think that's going to be interesting as we get into. I don't think it's going to happen over the next few weeks, but as we go into training camp, do they evaluate it and say, hey, let's add a linebacker? Wouldn't be shocked one bit if they do.
No, I wouldn't either. And I think the thing we've really focused on is adding a linebacker in free agency, but potentially the Bobbies, the Bobby Wagner, Bobby Okereke of the world, and seeing if they can raise the floor of this room. But an option that I don't think has really entered the conversation until the last couple weeks is trading for a linebacker. And I think that is an opportunity that the Bengals could potentially have as we get closer to training camp. The Seahawks last year had one of the best defenses in the entire league, and the big question they had before the season started was the linebacker position. Now they went out and got Ernest Jones, who was the king in the middle of that defense as they ran through. He wore the captain's patch and gave the speech at the parade at the end of the year. He was a late training camp trade from the Titans over to the Seahawks. The Bengals need to have the same kind of success this year.
Ooh, I wonder who it's going to be. You know me.
Hopefully
if you're
somebody.
aware of me, I love trades. I love big moves. Got plenty of time to talk about that. But now we got to talk about the news that was music to Joe Burrow's ears. We will do that next, right here on First Word.
Cincinnati, home to more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies. A city where you know someone who knows someone, and you're in business. Every weekday at noon, The Working Lunch brings you headlines from local businesses, along with exclusive interviews with owners and local leaders. East Side, West Side, northern suburbs, downtown over the Rhine, and northern Kentucky. Real conversations, real Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays at noon, only on The Crown.
It's time for another Tissot's Take here on First Word, and Sal Stewart. What a joy it's been to watch him for the Cincinnati Reds in his first full season with the big league club. Such a young player playing a new position at first base. Stewart played 203 games at third base through the Reds minor league system, just 2 at first, and he has been a star over there so far this year. After his historic April, he's been at the front of the NL Rookie of the Year race, battling against other young stars in the National League Central. Moises Ballesteros with the Cubs, Connor Griffin with the Pirates, J.J. Weatherholt with the Cardinals, some of the most exciting young players in all of baseball playing in the National League Central, and Sal Stewart right there at the top. First base, he's been great, but also a serviceable second baseman and third baseman, and hitting phenomenally from the plate. A real threat anywhere he is on the diamond, and someone no pitcher wants to face in the box. Very lucky to have someone this professional at such a young age. You're watching First Word, part of the Crown Network, from 7 to 11 every weekday morning.
Hello, my name is Natalie Jones, and welcome to the Nat Jones Show. After retiring from my 10-year radio career here in Cincinnati, I caught the bug, and I'm happy to bring it here to the Crown. I love captivating people who have captivating stories to tell. And the thing about it is, everybody has a story to tell. All you got to do is empower them to do so. That is exactly what I'm doing here. Because life is better when we all stay curious and we all stay connected.
I'm James Rapien, and this is your First Word Bengals Minute. Joe Burrow is undoubtedly one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. We know that. He knows that. But can he be the best? Well, earlier this offseason, he said he wanted to throw for 48 touchdowns, that it was doable. If he hits that mark, it would give him 205 in his career, which would be #1 all-time, passing Andy Dalton in Bengals history. And that mark is one thing, but becoming the best on the planet is another. And Joe Burrow, for my money, has the chance, has the potential, has the ability to be the best quarterback on the planet, and it's up to him to show it this year. Is 48 touchdowns doable? Absolutely. How about the NFL all-time single-season record at 55 that Peyton Manning set way back in 2013? Joey B, let's see you get that done. For more on the Bengals, make sure you check out First Word every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Nat Tries That is live at 11 on YouTube. Make sure you check it out. The debut. I'm really curious how hard she gets tackled. 1 to 10 scale. 8? 10? 12?
I'm hoping it's like an 8.
52? 152?
It would be much
If Geno
funnier.
Stone's doing it, she won't be tackled. She just score touchdowns every time.
That's true.
And you can check that out on YouTube. Nat Tries That. So there you go. The debut at 11 right here on The Crown. I'm James Rapien. He's Jacob Tissot. This is First Word. And my, oh my. We're going to talk about good news.
I love good news.
The first good news of the offseason was Geno Stone's no longer in town. Yeah. Joe Burrow smiled. Spoiler. And then he smiled again yesterday when, man, oh man, the best news. Myles Garrett is out of the division. Myles Garrett isn't playing for the Cleveland Browns anymore. Myles Garrett is no longer a Cleveland Brown because the Los Angeles Rams said, we want Myles Garrett. Joe Burrow said, great, great. Get the heck out of here. And it happened. Joe Burrow is a happy, happy man, as is Zach Taylor, as are all of the Bengals, that Myles Garrett is the heck out of the division.
The two you didn't name might be the happiest in the locker room. Orlando Brown and Mims.
Amarius Mims.
You're not having to block Myles Garrett twice a year.
Yeah. Maybe we'll be able to ask Orlando in the near future. Maybe about reaction to that. Maybe we'll have multiple offensive linemen on in the near future. Tease that you should really read into. I agree. That's part of it is the Bengals style, like dropping back like they do. Even when they have this different game plan for Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
The crossover on Ted 3 years ago, brutal.
It's back on my timeline yesterday.
Yesterday, in week 18 rather, everything that came with, he's going to break the sack record. And the whole game was revolving around, is he close to Joe? Is he close to Joe? I hated it.
Yeah.
I hated watching that game because it literally was such a huge storyline. And then he got it on such an uneventful, weird play where Joe's like, I'm not going to get hit here. Just don't want to think about that. And if you have to think about that in Super Bowl 61 or Super Bowl 62, what a great problem to have.
Exactly. I think that was the first thing our dear friend here, Paul Fritchner, said right after the trade was made was, we got to play the Rams in the Super Bowl. You got to block.
Gotta get
that
there.
would be awesome to have that be the case. It would certainly be a great problem to have, but a huge win for the Bengals to get Myles Garrett out of the division. It looked months ago like the division was going to get much stronger, the edge rushers that Joe Burrow and the Bengals had to play against when the Ravens traded 2 firsts for Max Crosby. Now, a few months later, Crosby's back with the Raiders and Myles Garrett is out of here going to LA to play for the Rams. And the Rams are a team that are just the absolute poster child for a contender, especially a contender in the back 9 of their franchise quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback's career. Go all in, trade every pick, get stars to surround that quarterback with, and go for a Super Bowl. And that's what the Rams are doing this year. They traded for McDuffie, they traded for Myles Garrett, and now they have one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in football.
Better crossover, Myles Garrett or Allen Iverson?
AI.
Okay.
Scarier crossover, Myles Garrett.
Scarier, yes. The scariest.
He's one of the scarier people.
Right?
Just like visually.
He's just so physically
daunting.
Insane. Yeah. And the reason why we know Joe Burrow, we haven't gotten Joe Burrow's reaction. I know why he's happy is because he's described what it's like to face Myles. He's bigger, stronger, more athletic. Zach Taylor in December called him, he's the best. Like, didn't say one of the best or just praise. He's one of the best players in the game. We got to pay attention. No, it was. He's the best.
Yeah.
And so when you have that and that leaves the division, super noteworthy, especially when you look at the Bengals. And if they're going to win and get to where they want to get to, it's going to be because of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. That's going to be a huge part of it. Sexy Dexy aside, defense revamped aside, Brian Cook aside, it's going to be because Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and this offense are awesome. And they have a far better chance of being awesome. Joe has a far better chance of setting the Bengals' all-time touchdown pass record this year. Doable is what he said. He needs 48 this year to do so. All of those things are more likely. Joe Burrow MVP, Bengals win the division, Bengals win the AFC title, Bengals go to the Super Bowl, Bengals win the Super Bowl after yesterday. They are more likely, and it's because they don't have a thorn in their side named Myles Garrett 2 times a year. Now, it's not like Jared Verse can't play. The Browns got players in assets, a really good player in assets. Jared Verse is a good player, former first rounder, has 14 sacks in 2 years. They get the Rams' first-round pick in 2027, their second-round pick in 2028, and their third-round pick in 2029. So you put all that together, you mix it together, and I'm going to ask you, did they give up too much to get Myles Garrett? As happy as Joe and Zach and the Bengals are that Myles Garrett's out of the division, did the Browns make the right decision, and did the Rams overpay?
I don't think so. I don't think the Rams overpaid. Now, I think it's about as good of a return as the Browns could have hoped for. I think both teams did a phenomenal job with this trade. This is exactly the type of move I'm making if I'm the Rams. You're making these big swings. You added Myles Garrett to your defense. There's no way I'm going to sit here and try to spin that as a bad move. Yeah, I think Jared Verse is awesome. He's one of the best young edge rushers in all of football. I was going through last night after the trade was made, and I think he falls anywhere from the top 12 to the top 15 edge rushers in football, only 2 years into the league, which is incredible. And the ceiling ceiling is high as number 1 in the league, I'm sure. But as of right now, he is not number 1 because number 1 is Myles Garrett. And looking through the stats verse over his 2 years of great play coming into this league, 2 years in the league, 2-time Pro Bowler, Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2024, 125 tackles, 12 sacks, 22 tackles for loss, and 5 forced fumbles. Last year, Myles Garrett outdid every single one of those numbers except for tackles and was 1 short on the forced fumbles. Myles Garrett has done 2 seasons of Jared Verse in 1 year last year, and it was with a team that wasn't competitive at all. And I am not downplaying
Didn't
Jared
trail,
Verse.
or was always trailing, wasn't forcing
He had 5
teams
sacks against New England in week 1. They lost by 19 points.
Is that good?
It is not.
Oh, okay.
It is for Myles, and that's why it was so frustrating for the Browns organization and Browns fans to watch the best defender in the league go out there and play like the best defender in the league every single week and fall short week after week after week to opponent after opponent. The Browns had to move on. It was time, and the only way to maximize any kind of return for him is to trade him after he breaks the sack record. That's where you can probably get the best possible return for Myles Garrett, and they did that with a great young player and multiple early draft picks. So I think it was a great trade for both of these teams.
I think in the moment, great trade. They should have done it last year. I bet they could have gotten 3, because his contract would have been even more manageable. He would have needed a new one, but I think everyone would have signed up for it. I wonder if they get 4 firsts last year. I'm serious. Micah got 2 and a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
It's Myles Garrett.
I think this was worth more than the Micah trade.
It was because he's cost controlled.
Right.
So the contract's done now, so that's part of it. And the sack season. It's interesting. I do this all day if I'm a contender. Like if I'm the Bengals, you take Mafe, you take 2 1s for Myles right now. Like I would just do that. They wouldn't do that in division, but I'm just pointing that out. So from a Rams standpoint, like there are a lot of people saying, "Oh, they overpaid." Do you know who Myles is?
Right.
They're trying to win right now. If you win 1, it's worth it. And their chances of winning 1 just went up a ton with what they did. And these are the type of swings. It's why the Dexter Lawrence, whether it works out or not, makes sense for the Bengals. Because you take the swing. It's contention mode. You're in contention mode. You're trying to build a championship-level team, championship-level roster. It's really hard to do. And it's really hard to acquire high-end talent and to get it right in the draft. And they did with Jared Verse. The Rams did. And they say, you know what? We can go get the baddest dude on the planet. I get it. I understand it. It's a lot of fun, by the way, that the NFL has shifted this way. The Bengals are a part of it. Trades.
It's crazy. It's crazy that the Bengals are a part of that group.
They made 3 trades in 2 years.
Unbelievable.
Like 2 in season and then the Dexter Lawrence trade. There might be other little ones, but I just mean like 2 in season.
I remember when the Khalil Herbert trade happened, and so much of the conversation was this is such an outlier. It never happens. And then roll around to this year, and when Joe goes down, the conversation from a lot of the fan base was, well, they're certainly not going to do that. Herbert was such an outlier. They're not going to go trade for a quarterback. Then they do in Joe Flacco, and not just trade for 1 year to try to hold the water. They re-sign him to be Burrow's backup this year. And I just think there's so many steps, even throughout the playoff drought over the last couple of years, that you could see this organization turning the page. And maybe it didn't get all the way flipped until this offseason, but they were inching there. And this year they went all in, and they did what they needed to do during the offseason. And now the pressure shifts. And I think it gets even bigger with Myles Garrett out of the division. Not that the Browns were a contender in the AFC North, I think, in either of our eyes. But Myles Garrett's certainly a difference maker anytime he's on the field and can single-handedly win a game or 2 for the Browns in a season. And usually one of those came against the Bengals. So I think this does change the Bengals' mindset pretty drastically going into the season. He's been a nightmare to play his entire career, and now you don't have to.
What Terry Francona had to say about the Reds, we're going to get into that. We're going to preview today's game. They need to win to stay above 500. It is Abbott Day, Andrew Abbott Day. We'll dive into a preview of Reds Royals as we roll on. He's Jacob Tissot. I'm James Rapien, and this is First Word.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with the First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the Working Lunch, Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. built for Cincinnati. First word for you morning sports, the working lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe. Hi, my name is Natalie Jones. Just your typical 40-year-old Cincinnati girl. Although, no, I'm not married or divorced. I don't have any kids, and I don't live in the neighborhood I grew up in, which is the West Side, by the way. But what I do have is a lot of freaking time, and I've been using it well. So come along with me on this grand adventure, because I've been trying all the new around town that you need to know about. This is Nat Tries That.
My name is Jack Crumley. I've been covering news in Cincinnati on the radio for the last 20 years. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, but Cincinnati has always felt like home since day one. I've seen so many things accomplished here, and now, with the Working Lunch, I get to write, read, and talk about them every day. Hard-working people with a drive and a dream. Innovative ideas that help shape this city. Cincinnati is a great city, and I'm excited to tell you about it every day.
Paul Fritchner back here for another Rebound Rundown local update, this time for the Xavier Musketeers under second-year head coach Richard Pitino, turning over some of the roster, but not quite as much as last year in his first season when he basically had to put together an entirely new team. He brings back some faces from this past year's team. Jovan Milicevic, the only one who played. Gabe Pizzato, expected to be a key player on this upcoming season's team. He had a torn meniscus. Case in Westfall redshirted as well. Jovan Milicevic, a really crucial star player for Xavier, is back. And then they add a couple of SEC starters in Mike Nwoko, the starting center from LSU, Ruben Dominguez, a sharpshooter from Texas A&M, plus Chance Westry, a point guard from UAB, True Washington, who played for Richard Pitino at New Mexico, then went to Miami, Florida. He is back playing for Richard Pitino, a really talented two-way player. A lot of pieces to be excited about on this Xavier team, and you can stay tuned for all of that and more right here on the Rebound Rundown.
Welcome back to First Word. I'm James Rapien alongside Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot. We are your morning sports show, Cincinnati, every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. And today at 11, it is time for the debut of Nat Tries That right here on The Crown. We will see if Geno Stone is one of the potential opponents she's going at.
I hope so.
Well, then Nat's going to score a bunch of touchdowns. She played pro football here. She went to a practice. And if Geno Stone's on the field, there's no way she got tackled. I'm looking forward to her getting tackled.
So I guess we hope Brian Cook's there. Maybe not.
No, I don't hope
Maybe
Brian
not
Cook's
Brian
there.
Cook.
I hope it's anyone but Geno Stone,
Yeah.
I guess is the anyone but Geno. And I'm not talking about Eugenio Suarez. We will see. We'll see there. And there's a look at everything you can watch here on The Crown, from Rebound Rundown to Nat Tries That. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley today at noon. And Natalie Jones will be on with Jack, so that's something to look forward to right here in the Crown Studios. And of course, First Word every weekday. Show 2 almost done, but not yet, because we're 0-1. I thought the Reds were going to sweep the Royals.
I hope so.
And then they came around and said, well, Chase Burns isn't going to pitch.
No.
instant worry, instant concern. Grand slam off of Lyon Richardson. Things go crazy, and the Reds lose 9-2 yesterday to the Royals. We're going to preview today's game, but before we get to today's game, here's what Tito had to say after the loss last night.
You guys were obviously up against it with Chase Burns being out. What did you see that, besides the obvious, that ran Lyon Richardson into trouble there?
Yeah, just, I mean, no command. You know, and then he looked like he might wiggle out of it, and he tried to get ahead and threw one, caught too much of the plate. So that was 4 right there, and it was a long inning. I think he threw 30 pitches. That's a lot.
You've said other players before maybe didn't help us win a game tonight, but boy, he helped us the next day. Or is Lee Bren in that category today?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And again, I hope we have a lead tomorrow, and if we do and we win, he'll deserve a pat on the back, because that was a lot.
Was it nice to see the youngster Arroyo get that first one off his chest?
Yeah. I mean, he made a really nice play at second. It was good to see. You know, up to that point, there was some swing and miss, but it was nice to see him get a base hit. That kind of gave everybody a little lift.
What do you feel like led the team struggles offensively tonight?
Well, I mean, they threw a bunch of you know, after the first guy had pretty good velocity, breaking ball coming in, hadn't commanded great, and not commanded good enough. We didn't make him pay when he didn't, and then they started going 1 inning apiece.
Ellie has played in every game since you took over as manager. How odd did it feel not to have him out there playing?
Well, we kind of knew that, you know, I mean, that was a given. Be glad when he's back in there, but that was kind of a given. We knew it wasn't going to be in there.
What's been working so well for J.J. Bleday over the past couple weeks?
I would say it's been since he's been here, not a couple weeks. He's a very good fastball hitter. He's smart enough to sit on an off-speed pitch when he needs to, and he's hitting lefties.
The Reds are certainly going to need J.J. Bleday to continue. Yeah. And with Elly De La Cruz out for a minimum of 2 weeks, and we'll see, he's on the 10-day injured list, but Terry Francona said 2 to 4 weeks.
Right.
Could be out all of June, which is not fun. It does mean Edwin Arroyo is going to move into the lineup here, and we saw him yesterday. It's just tough sledding right now for the Reds. It was a rough May. Elly De La Cruz hurt. Hunter Green's still out. We have promising news on Rhett Lauder, but still your rotation is beat up. Your bullpen hasn't worked. Nope. Not a lot to be happy about. What's there to be happy about?
Not a lot. And hopefully the Reds can just stay afloat throughout whatever it is, 2, 3, 4 weeks that Elly De La Cruz is out. And I think that's the biggest worry at this point is, will he miss enough time that they fall off the cliff? And that's the hope, is that they don't, is that they can stay afloat and win enough games to be relevant when he does come back, because it's 2 incredible trade deadline acquisitions in Hunter Green and Elly De La Cruz. If you get through June, and then both of those guys can come back and play really, really good baseball down the stretch of the summer. But I think the one that really, obviously a big win to get the shot at the majors, but a huge loser of this whole thing is Edwin Arroyo, because the conversation around him and what's expected of him changes so drastically from what the conversation was the entire time we were asking for him to get called up from Louisville. The whole time it was, he's going to play second base, Ellie's going to play shortstop, Ellie's having an MVP caliber season, and that middle infield is going to be great as he learns a new position. Yesterday was his 33rd game in his career at second base. Now, all eyes are on Arroyo. He is looked at to be a potential replacement for McLean at second base. McLean's at short, so everyone's going to be focusing on Arroyo. And if Arroyo slides over to third and starts a game over there, everyone's going to be looking to see if he can replace Ke'Bryan Hayes, who's currently on the injured list. So instead of flying under the radar and being a complimentary piece as a big-time prospect in a lineup that was starting to figure itself out a little bit, Edwin Arroyo's now been thrust into this lineup and into the second base position probably more often than not, as the face of this lineup, at least someone that everyone's going to have the spotlight on. So certainly not how you want a lot of these prospects to come up. You never want to be forced with their timeline, and that's what we heard from Terry Francona earlier in the show, is that he said Edwin Arroyo was called up because they need a backup infielder, and that's never where you want to be with a top prospect. You want to give them on their timeline, when they're ready and when you think they can make an impact to the big league club. The Reds' hand was forced, and now Edwin Arroyo's here. You hope he works out, but there's more pressure than there was ever expected on him.
Yeah, there is, and it's unfortunate because you're hoping when you bring a guy up like that, you can ease him in a bit, and instead it's pressure on him, pressure on Matt McClain, pressure on the entire group to perform without Ellie De La Cruz, and they haven't. McClain hasn't. No. Arroyo just hasn't played in the big leagues, so he's going to adjust to life in the big leagues. Here's what Edwin Arroyo had to say after his debut last night.
Yeah, it didn't start how I wanted, but it finished how I wanted. So great for the opportunity and excited for the first game.
What was the moment like? The first hit, the ball, maybe where the ball's going? Have you thought about any of that?
No, I was just listening to the fans, and it was great. It was great. I was really excited after that. So hopefully, let's keep it going.
Were you able to soak in that moment, listening to the fans?
It was really exciting. It got me a little of thought of WBC in Puerto Rico, really loud, a lot of people, cheering. So really excited, and hopefully they keep coming and keep cheering for the team.
What moment had you? Your sister, I think, cheering up in the crowd as well. How special it is to have your family here and to have her watching you. Great.
She was the only one here today from the family. I'm glad she could make it on time. The rest will come tomorrow, but I'm happy and glad she could enjoy it.
I don't know if you noticed, she couldn't sit down the entire game. She was that nervous for you. You haven't seen that yet?
She gets really excited. People that talk around, she gets a little distracted, but I'm glad she had fun.
What had you more hyped up, the sliding play or the hit?
Both. The first play, it was the first play. It was the first hit. It's a little different of excitement, but both were really exciting.
I mean, you haven't played a ton of second base in the minor leagues. To come up here and prove you can play that spot, how important is that for you carving out a role?
Good. I played the last couple of weeks. I was playing a little more second, so I could feel comfortable. Tito asked me if I was feeling comfortable there. I said yes. So wherever they put me, I'm gonna, try and feel as comfortable as there. So.
If you would have asked you if you would catch, if you're comfortable playing catcher, you would probably have said the same
I'll probably go do and catch and block everything and be ready to go.
There's the old saying, the joke, the ball always finds you. Were you not surprised that the first ball put in play went right to you?
Yeah, it's something always is going to happen the first game. It happened, now we pass the page and be ready for the second game.
The Reds banking on Edwin Arroyo today. They're going to be banking on him for the foreseeable future. Yeah. It's Andrew Abbott Day, and they need Andrew Abbott to be what he was in May, where he got back to that all-star form and was really dominant and pitched well after an ugly, ugly April. And at 30-29, a bad Royals team. I get it with the Lyon Richardson stuff and everything that happened with Chase Burns yesterday. Have to rebound, have to find a way to get a win with Abbott on the mound today.
A bad Royals team, absolutely, looking at their overall record, but that doesn't even really put it into perspective how bad of baseball they're playing right now. They've won 4 of their last 20 games. This team is absolutely floundering, and they come into Cincinnati and hit a grand slam in the first inning, coast to an easy win in Game 1. This is inexplicable if the Reds lose this series. It is not a series they should lose. It's not a series they should have lost Game 1. Obviously, you play with the hands you're dealt, and Lyon Richardson opening is not what anyone in that organization wanted to do last night, but Chase Burns couldn't go, so you try to work through it. And Richardson almost got out of it, but he couldn't find the zone, and then they took him deep. So hopefully Abbott can get it done today. He's been so great over the last month. And then TBD on Wednesday, does Burns get that start or is it Paddock?
Yeah, I just see the -39 run differential, and I completely it's wild that it's been that bad.
And that's better.
Well, until yesterday. Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt about it. And you're right. Then the Burns factor. And do you do that 2 days later, disrupt his flow with all the discussion about the innings limit? And that's it. Do they do that? Do they not? That's certainly going to be a topic on tomorrow's show of whether or not they should put Chase Burns out there. But if he's going to reach an innings limit anyway, or that's a thing and that's a discussion internally and we think it is, why against the Royals when you should, if there was a team where Chris Paddock should be able to go out there and perform relatively decent against, it would be the Royals, and he did do okay against the Braves. I know you were kind of let down, but he did. He had 4 runs in 5 innings against the Braves. All right, can you go 5 and allow 2 against the Royals? Because I would take that tomorrow. Yeah. Chris Paddock's on the mound.
Yeah.
And don't eat into Chase Burns' innings. I think that's part of it. Now, the Reds would probably say, hey, we're 30-29. We're fighting for our lives here. Ellie De La Cruz is hurt. Hunter Green's hurt. All these guys are hurt or not playing well, and we're trying to figure it out. We need to get as many wins as we can when we can get them. I get it, but there's a risk involved.
Yeah, I certainly don't understand forcing Chase Burns back in right away if the innings limit conversation is as big of a conversation as it seems to be. This isn't something that's just being pulled from, Twitter, social media, or anything along those lines. Cowboy mentioned this on the radio call last week, that Chase Burns will probably land somewhere between 100 and 150 innings on the innings limit this year. He's never cleared 100 innings at any point in his career, and now it seems like they're going to start him on Wednesday if he's healthy after the illness that caused him to miss his start yesterday. And I think the biggest question for me here at this point isn't even about Chase Burns, because we'll talk about the innings limit and all that stuff tomorrow. If you feel so confident that he has to start this game to beat the Royals and it can't be Chris Paddock, then Chris Paddock can't be in this rotation. You need to have more confidence in the people in your rotation that they can start these games and win these games. If you need to rush Chase Burns in there because you think that's the only way that you can win this game, then get Chase Petty up and start him instead of Chris Paddock. Do something instead of Chris Paddock. I know it's not that easy. I know that's the pitchers that you've been dealt. I know the Reds are dealing with injuries right now. But you can't have to do this because you don't have faith in someone that's penciled into your rotation.
Yeah, I get it. And the rotation hopefully is going to get a boost soon. Rhett Lauder lingering here. He's going to start for Louisville. We can cover that tomorrow as far as how that goes.
Would be a huge piece to
Would
get
be
back.
huge. Gotta have it. Would be nice to have it. Nice. We will continue to discuss Reds. Look a little bit ahead to today's start. Andrew Abbott on the mound for the Reds as we roll on right here on First Word.
I'm here with Heather Britt. She is the founder and creator of the Dance Mix Foundation. This is the first inaugural Kids Dance Day. Tell us what you've done.
So we've been in 9 schools over Greater Cincinnati that we have been teaching a dance to over the last 3 weeks. They've practiced and now they're coming together to perform and then see other arts experience. Cincinnati Ballet, Art Museum, Playhouse in the Park. So they're gonna have a great day.
Shoot. Let's go.
You stepped aside with a vibe I ain't never seen. Yes, you did.
This is so cool! This is so much fun!
It would break my heart, break my heart, break my heart if I find out you ain't You better show me now, show me now, show me now. 'Cause when I take it to the floor, you gotta get down. You know what to do. Hey, Mr. DJ.
Oh, you guys are doing a great job. Why did you want to start this and do this?
Our mission is health, happiness, connection, but really about arts access as well and inclusion.
Nice job! Nice job! Hey! Hey, your shoelaces are untied. Your shoelaces are untied. You don't know how to tie it? Can I do it? All right, cool. All right, I'll teach you. What's your name? Tayden. Tayden, have you been having fun today? Yeah. Now he's good to go. That was making me so nervous. 1, 2, 3, dance miss! Great job today. Great job today.
This city has always had something to prove. While the rest of the country talked about us, we built our own voice. Blue collar, underdogs, built differently, overlooked, talked about like we were supposed to stay quiet. But that was never who we were, because this city doesn't wait for permission. And neither do we. And now, for the first time, Cincinnati has a network built in its image, because the biggest stories in this city deserve more than highlights. This isn't cable television. This isn't national media. This is ours. This is The Crown.
Welcome back to First Word Day 2. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and making us part of your routine, Cincinnati. We are here for you and with you every single weekday, 7 to 11, right here on The Crown. Stanley Cup tonight. That's one thing we will be watching, certainly, as Vegas and Carolina go at it. Vegas has just been rolling.
Unbelievable.
Playoff start, Vegas said it's our time.
Only 39 wins this year. 6 teams in the NHL had more regular season wins than Vegas. But Vegas gets in the playoffs because of the 17 overtime losses and then just mows through the Western Conference, gets all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. Hurricanes are a slight favorite. They've been a favorite really behind the Avalanche all season long. But the Knights got through the Avalanche, so why not through the Hurricanes?
So you got the Knights?
I do.
Fine, then I'm going with Carolina then.
Yeah,
you would go with Vegas.
I love Jack Eichel.
The thing this guy said to me, he turns to me, this is what goes on in Jacob's head. Turns to me, says, hey, you think Malik Willis is going to be good this year?
Wondering.
That's what goes on in his head. You know what goes on in my head? All day Andrew Abbott. Ooh, I stole the JJ Bleday for this one. It's all-star Andrew Abbott on the mound. I think he gets it done against the Royals today. I think he pitches well. I'm going to say 7 innings.
Love it.
2 runs. That ERA continues to drop. He builds on what he did in May, and he mows through those Kansas City Royals.
I'm going to learn from my whole number mistake, though I do completely agree. I'll go 6 1/3, 3 runs.
What?
I'll go 6 1/3, 3 runs, 4 Ks, 2 walks.
Wow.
Reds win 5-4.
6 1/3. I'll take the over. Abbott's dialed in, baby.
Over on 6 1/3?
I just said 7, yes.
Wow.
I do. When I say it that way, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, you get some pretty sweet odds on that, I think.
He's like, wow. I just said 7. 20 seconds prior.
Doesn't mean you're going to bet on it.
Join us every morning at 7. Here's how you can watch. That
was good.
The Rock, right there on the Rock Entertainment Sports Network. Obviously, Spectrum, Alta, Fiber, over the air on digital, YouTube Live. And if you want to listen, take us with you on the go, that's fine. Look up The Crown on Mixlr. Also, listen to the show afterward, anywhere and everywhere you get your podcasts. By the way, the Nat Jones Show debuts in 5 minutes from right now.
I will be
check
seated.
it out. Nat tries that on YouTube. She will be on the Working Lunch with Jack Crumley today at noon right here on The Crown. Obviously, Rebound Rundown for all of your college hoops. And First Word here every single morning for anything sports. That's it. We are your first word on sports, Cincinnati. So please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And Mixlr is all you do is follow The Crown, and it's real easy. You hit the button, and boom, it's up. Yeah, I hadn't heard of Mixlr. It's the most convenient thing ever. Download it today. Take us with you on the go. For everyone here with the First Word crew outside of Sam Chavez, for Marisa Contipelli and Jacob Tissot, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to First Word.